What's happening, Trace?
How's it going, Joe? How's it going, Andrew?
Not bad, not bad, not bad. I'm thinking about hopping on Photoshop. Go get me a Gerber pacifier package and put the Aiken Florian podcast logo on it with the slogan that says, "So we don't have to hear you fucking cry about it."
Easy, easy, easy. I'm in talks with one of his coworkers to come on the show as a guest, man. Take it
Hey,
easy.
can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Loud and
Dude,
yeah.
clear.
that was so weird. You sent me the co-host invite and I clicked accept and then it just like removed my mic. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, it's a booby trap.
Truth be told, I like Aiken a lot, a lot. I wrote a post that I think he should go to the NFL if he can, but like,
So much you can even say his name right.
what I
Aiken.
say?
Aiken.
Oh,
I honestly didn't even know who he was talking about because he said Aiken. I'm like, who?
Anik, my bad. My bad. Fucking I really like the dude. I think he's really good at it. I think if he could go to the NFL, he should. Like do some pay-per-views or something. Like don't go away. He should, but like it is like the most over coddled subject that has come across MMA Twitter in
Dude,
at least a
100%.
year. At least I mean like I'm thinking like 5 years, like as long as I can ever remember, but whatever, man. Like I like he said something. It's cool. Like I get it. Nobody wants him to go, but like I don't know. It's on my timeline so much that I'm tired of it. I'm not that.
Did you
No,
see?
dude, that's why I sent that message in that group chat yesterday of Patrick crying because I'm like, hey, that's all I see. Everyone's just fucking crying and they're sad and they're like, hey, you guys should be nicer to Jon
Yeah,
Anik. And
bro. And like
the funny thing is this, right? So like I usually get made fun of in the group chat for being like the group bitch or like the one with like any sort of sensitivity levels, right? But it's like, dude, this is just ridiculous. Like, and I'm not even being disrespectful. It's one of those things. It's like, if he thinks going to another sport and commentating is going to solve the problem, it's just not. Like, look at
Hang
Chris
on, hang on,
Curtis,
hang on, hang
right?
on, hang on.
Nobody likes
Before we
Chris
get
Curtis
before we
because
get too
everyone
deep,
thinks,
Andrew.
huh?
Before we get too deep, Andrew, can y'all send invites into other group chats? I can't from the host account on my phone for whatever reason.
yeah, I got him right now.
Sure.
No problem.
Hey, gents.
What's happening, Daniel?
Sorry, Andrew. Go ahead and continue. I just want to get that in before we get it going too far.
Oh no, you're good, man. What was I saying?
You were talking about how
I just think it's funny because it's like you take a look at a guy like Chris Curtis, right? And Chris Curtis was always so active on social media, and then he got tired of it. And it's like whether you want to call him a bitch because he can't handle it or because he just chooses to get rid of it because it's a distraction for him. It's like he ultimately got rid of it or deactivated momentarily so he could fight, right? So it's like if you're Jon Anik, why don't you just do the same thing? It's like if you clearly either can't handle it or don't want to handle it, then just get rid of it. Like if you think going to another sport is going to solve your problems, it's not, because I hate to tell you, but every fucking fan base of any sport is the same way. You're gonna have jerks. You're gonna have people saying the rudest, things that I would never say to someone. But it is what it is, bro. You got to get over it.
Interesting that you said that though, but the whole it being the action man. Did you see what Sean Strickland had to say about the Annex situation? He pretty much told him to fuck off if you're a bit big of a pussy about it. Just go ahead and fucking leave and go make your money somewhere else. I
well,
mean,
it's a tough topic. Like, so here's my thing, right? Social media sucks, especially when you're trying to do anything. Like we've been at this thing for almost 2 years, bro. Like we, when you're trying to do something, people just want to be negative. It makes them feel having an opinion that devalues what you're doing or what you've done makes people with no value feel valuable. That's what it does. Like if you have no value to a situation, what the default for most people is to criticize it, not compliment it, not talk it up and ask questions and be a nerd. Like, dude, how does it work? What is it? That's not, people don't want to do that. They want to be cool. Oh, that's cool, but I don't know how you're going to make that work every day. You come up with some bullshit. So like, social media is that. It's the same idea that if you do a good job in business, this is before the internet. This has been the rule of business as long as I've been alive. My mother has taught me this. When you do something good, a good deed or good business, or you do something good for someone, you'll be lucky if they tell 3 people. You'll be lucky. You'll be lucky if they tell 3 people about it. But if you make someone mad, even if you didn't rob them, steal from them, anything, you just gave them bad customer service and they didn't like you, they will tell at least 10 people. You'd be lucky if they don't tell 2 dozen. That's just how people are. People like thrive on negativity. I feel for him. I feel for him. But bro, don't come on here crying about it. We all get negativity. Anybody on here trying to do anything that's not be negative or post memes that are actually like sneak disses at people all day long, like people just want to take shots. Like, I don't know. I like Jon. I just fuck, bro. What do you want from people?
Yeah, but if Anik left, it would be a real loss for the sport. But at the same time, it's like Joe Rogan says all the time: don't read the fucking comment section. It's really not that hard. Don't read the comment section.
Yeah, so does Ariel, so does everybody else. And like I understand how everybody feels
But at
when
the same
Jon
time, like
left.
I get it. This MMA is one of the only kind of sports where some of the stars do kind of have go back and forth with the fans. Like they don't have as much of a superstar syndrome as some of them other sports players do, like other players from other sports do. So the whole thing is they just want to elicit a reaction, whether it's good or bad. They just want to know that you
React.
made somebody feel something like, oh yeah, dude, I pissed off Conor McGregor. Oh, Conor McGregor blocked me. Conor, oh dude, he knows who I am at least for 5 seconds. You
And
know,
But
yeah, and
that's
then you
my
can
point,
laugh
bro.
with your
Like,
butt.
it's not just fighting. I promise you, this example you gave, every sport is the same way, bro. I mean, I get like NFL stars are bigger and they have bigger followings, so maybe they're not reading as many comments, or maybe they
Yeah,
can't
but
get to as
but that's
many.
not fair because that's not fair. And I don't mean to cut you off, but like you're telling me the defensive back on the Cleveland Browns has more followers than Lauren Murphy? No, he doesn't. Nobody gives a fuck about him either. Like, they just want to get, like you said, get reactions from him so that they can say, oh, yeah, he blocked me. Ha, 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 ha. Fuck that guy.
Y'all talking about that little bitch ass fucking Jon Anik? No,
Hey,
no,
shut.
I'm just fucking with y'all. The only thing I think about it is it's just like I think y'all kind of said it too. It's just like everybody fucking gets negativity, and he honestly is. I think the only thing that sucks and makes me dislike it even more is that he is a very positive guy most of the time. And I mean, y'all have heard me in here say it multiple times. Fucking this fan base is garbage. They'll complain about any fucking little thing. So fucking, that's the only thing that pisses me off. It's just like, dude, just don't even acknowledge it. Like you know these fucks were gonna get riled up, and now even somebody that supports him like me is now getting annoyed that he's out here making them louder. Sucks.
Yeah, so, like, I agree. And, like, the sentiment that, if Jon left, it would be a huge loss or whatever. I'm not taking away from it. I really like Jon. Like, I swear to God, I listen to their podcast whenever it comes by. I love when there's clips of it because it's so hard to listen to the full podcast with all the stuff we take in. So I love when they got clips, even the 8 or 10 minute clips. Never miss them. But, bro, like, you can't come on here whining and crying about it. And, like, if you left, it wouldn't, like, I don't want to belittle it, bros, but like Goldberg left, people were mad. Now everybody laughs at it. People
Let me
were
ask you guys a question.
outraged.
Let me ask you guys a question. So you listen to Jon Anik, you know Jon Anik. Jon Anik is a very intelligent person, right? I feel like he knows that the correct answer would obviously not, have everybody change, because not everybody's going to change. It's just not a realistic thing. The realistic option is get rid of social media, right? I feel like he knows that too. So let me ask you guys something. You ever get the feeling that he's saying something else? You think maybe this is just like kind of like the scapegoat, and maybe
So
he's just like using this as a way out, but there's really something else going on?
yes. So yes.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, you
Yes,
have to
because
listen to people.
and I
Like,
was just
really
gonna
listen
say,
to people.
bro, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was gonna say it seems to me like something has him bothered. There is something, not people. John. Come on, bro. The UFC was one of the sports that helped make Twitter famous. Like they, and I'm not trying to like suck the UFC's dick. That's not. They were pumping Twitter forever, bro. As long as you've been involved with MMA, people have been negative, John. Like this is nothing new, bro. So like, what's got you upset? What pissed you off? Like Dana didn't get mad when they said oil you up, but Dana acknowledged oil you up. Like what aren't you acknowledging that you want to acknowledge right now? That's how I feel.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, we'll never know though until he quits or leaves or doesn't. I don't know.
Because, like, if you think about it, dude, this shit came out of nowhere, like out of left field, bro. Like, there was no buildup to this. This shit came from absolutely nowhere.
Well, no. Yeah, but it's like, here's the thing. We got to remember what he's crying about. And I don't mean to say crying. I shouldn't say crying. We have to understand what caused this situation. Bro, this is over him scoring the fight for Drakus. Like, you have a huge following no matter who you scored that fight for. The people who agreed with you are going to hit the like button, and everybody who disagreed with you was going to stop in the comments to talk shit. It didn't matter which side you picked. It did not matter which side you picked. That's how it was going to go down. You like, of all the things you could be upset about, it just doesn't make sense that this is the one for me.
Yeah, and personally over here, like he's talking about leaving the sport, and I mean, I'm sure all of us will miss him. A lot of people. I mean, we all like Jon Anik. I kind of hate that he dislikes that everybody jokes about the custody battle thing, and I get it. One big slip up in his career, and now it's become a big joke. But it's also like embrace it. Come on, don't be a fucker. We're gonna fuck with you, and that's our way of showing love. But like, things move on. Back to what Joe was saying, like. Goldberg left. If Jon Anik would leave, what the fuck's her name? Laura Sanko would take that position in a heartbeat, and we would see her every single week, and her fan base would get even more crazy, and then she would get even more haters, and the cycle continues, and then further down the line, everybody would be loving and hating on Laura as well.
Yeah,
First off, Goldberg didn't leave. He got the boot. They didn't want him no more. Second off, just remember, boys, it could always be worse. It could be Jason Anik we're talking about. He is definitely way more annoying than John is.
what I meant by leave was though,
Is he
like,
a brother?
it wasn't. Yeah, same exact voice as him too. It,
Twin, bro. Just a long haired John Anik.
I
we
didn't know that.
I just feel like, so when some guys are leaving, they kind of announce they're gonna go. We as fans are like, okay, great, you deal with it. Goldberg was one of them ones. When I say left, like, it was just like we woke up one day and they're like, okay, he's done, and we're like, whoa, that dude's been on like every UFC video game there is, I think, and every UFC card, and says every dumbass UFC slogan that we associate with being a dumbass UFC slogan. That's that guy. He was just gone. And a lot of, like, now everybody talks shit about him. People were really upset. I was there. I was a fan, bro, at the time. People were super pissed when he got canned. Now he's like, it's like a laughable thing. And I'm not belittling him. I'm just saying, like, everybody's like, oh, he sucks. Oh yeah, fuck that guy. That guy sucks. Who cares? Yeah, but who cares? Goldberg's gone because he's not Jon Anik. Like, that's not how we felt when he left. When he left, everybody was like, oh, the sport's over, brah. I don't know. I just feel like I do think it would be a loss for our sport for John to go do another sport. But the sport will continue on. Like, listen, nobody is bigger than the sport. One day Dana White will quit, and this sport will continue on at this point. Oh man, I got Disney soundtrack in the background. We're probably about to get booted.
Well, I guess we'll type that one out there, Joe. What do you got next for us?
Oh shit, I wasn't by the topics. Okay, I got one though. I know what's on there. You guys heard about Brock Lesnar, Vince McMahon, the
Oh
loss?
yeah,
Yes,
I think
something
Andrew was
about
loaded.
Vince resigned today, bro. It's done.
something about like sexual or something, something from a former employee.
That dude was
So
fucking his employees. That
I'm.
dude was fucking his employees.
Oh, here it is.
No, no,
Weight
no,
of
no, no, no,
sexual
no, no. All
misconduct
right.
and deprived behavior allegations from former employee.
Okay, so here, let me tell you what they're actually saying. What they're actually saying, and I'm gonna summarize it. This chick is saying that when Vince was trying to re-sign Brock, probably around the last time we thought was he coming to the WWE or coming to the UFC, Vince McMahon looked at some chick and was like, "Go fuck him." What? Go give him a blowjob. Go fucking convince him. Essentially, uh, there's text messages that she's claiming that Brock was asking for videos of her pissing. Like he didn't want naked photos, he wanted videos of her taking piss and so on and so forth. And then there's text messages where Vince McMahon it's supposedly from Vince McMahon to her saying that fucking, or from Brock to her after he cut the deal with Vince McMahon saying, fucking you was part of this deal. So they're being accused of sex trafficking. Vince McMahon is going to be charged with sex trafficking. I do want to throw
So,
something.
are we about to witness a dynasty fall?
Oh yeah, listen here. So listen, I want to explain something to everybody. Vince McMahon, shitty guy, right? I'm not saying shitty guy like bad person. Like, look at what Vince McMahon has done his entire life. Look what he grew up around. Look who
True,
his father
true.
was. He's grown up around fucking testosterone injected men, and he's 70 something years old and spent his whole life around them. So like his moral compass is a little different than ours. Having money, thinking he can own some broad. I'm not saying it's right. It's absolutely wrong. But you just have to understand that's who he is, right? So from that level, I have seen from the outside and felt like the WWE has been being taken from the McMahon family for the past 10 years. And this is it. This is the blow. There has been a coup to get that family out of that business since it went public. Maybe it wasn't 10 years ago, however long ago it was. There has been a coup. Every headline, every topic, everything you see is like Vince McMahon is Donald Trump or some shit. Like they don't like him. Nobody likes him. They don't like who he is. And maybe it's because he's a shitty person. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe Vince really is who they want him to paint him is, but we all know that the media can make anybody into anything, so you can't trust it. But there has been a coup to pull that
He's
family.
a man that can't be bought.
Yep. Um,
Oh
there's
no, he's definitely a terrible person, Joe. Yeah, this isn't like the first like bad thing he's done.
Steve. Yeah, and like I don't disagree because of the different sexual allegations. I just
Well,
don't have a problem.
there's also been like hints towards like he was behind certain wrestlers' deaths and shit like that too.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I highly doubt it. Vince had too much to care. And if any of that was going to happen, it would have happened when WCW was about to take his business. He didn't make some move and sacrificially win WCW. WCW buried themselves in debt, and Ted Turner was like, "Hey, you want this?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll take it." Um, so I don't get too much into that. I don't disagree with the fact that Vince may have been the guy who heard that one guy was going to a bar and gonna fucking kill a guy when he got there and just been like, yeah, I don't fucking care what you do. Get out of here. I could believe that type of shit, but too much money to be at certain levels. Plus, Vince was trying to protect other shit. Do you know the stories about like Hulk Hogan hiding in his attic during the court trial for the steroids?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan tells a
Hey,
story
but
that
I fucking want to.
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan tells a story that while they were on trial, because Vince went on trial for being accused of basically making his athletes take steroids, giving them to them, and basically essentially creating an environment where they felt like they had to take them, and creating an environment where if you did not take them, you would not be, because he was pumping them so much to the people who would take them. He created an environment to the public eye appeal where if you weren't a steroid freak, people didn't want to see you. And that was a real lawsuit. Guys with the physique of like CM Punk or something, for example, would have been guys who are like, no, dude. We can't get work. We can't get paid. We can't do any of this. It was before CM's day. I'm just trying to give an example of a person. So during that, they called some of the fighters, well, the wrestlers, to testify. They wanted them to literally, that simple, come testify. And Hulk Hogan was being called on to testify. And back in the day, you know, it was like one of the things, they'll just continue the trial. If they can't find you, the trial's going to go on and, you know, they'll just figure it out later. So Hulk Hogan tells the story that he was in Vince McMahon's attic, which I'm sure wasn't like an attic. Like he says, the attic of his mansion. I'm living up there. So like, I'm sure he just meant the second floor, you know what I mean? Like, or the third floor. And he said Macho Man came over there for something, literally like bitching about, they're looking for Hogan. They won't leave me alone. These fucking guys are everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't remember what Hogan said. He like sneezed or coughed or something. And Vince told Hogan, like, I think he knows. You know, you coughed after I told him you weren't here. So Hogan tells the story that he believes that Macho left out of there and was like, hey, he's over here. Go get him.
Take that with a grain of salt because Hulk Hogan has been known to be a notorious liar.
Absolutely. But listen,
he's another terrible fucking person that I can't stand.
Yeah, he's a horrible, I agree with the fact that he's like a horrible liar.
Hey, Joe, can you host for a few minutes? I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say this, though. Hogan is not, in my opinion, all the shit you've heard about him and all the shit that he's done. I've never heard any heinous crimes. So I
Yeah,
don't
that's
care.
fair. That's
I don't
fair.
care what you did. You're a racist. Well, I think that's shitty. You know, like I think that I personally, sincerely think that makes you a shitty person. But nonetheless, like I'm not gonna get angry and form an opinion where I'm like, oh, I could never watch this guy or do that guy. You know, I've listened to black dudes that are openly racist or music from certain people that are openly racist against like even white people. But you know, you're like, damn, it's good music though. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like, he entertained us all. I'm not mad at him. He was never accused of any heinous crimes. But when you dig into it, like, they've been trying to take Vince McMahon apart for many years. And, like, I mean, take his ass apart for many years. I felt like that was why the company went public, to protect Vince McMahon from losing it. Usman, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's crazy how timing works out. And I don't know if my homie knew anything. He is into the WWE and all that shit. But Saturday after the fights, we're just kicking back, drinking a little bit, and he's like, "Fuck it, bro, let's watch 2006 Royal Rumble." And I'm like, "All right, whatever, put it on." And they brought out 70-year-old Jimmy Snuka, and he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, did you know that there was a dead woman found in Jimmy Snuka's hotel one night, and supposedly Vince McMahon covered it up, and it never came to light or some shit like that?" And I was like, "No, I did not know that shit."
Oh, yeah. So, like, all right. So maybe that's what Andrew or whoever said it earlier was talking about. So, all right. So there have been a few things where, like, it's been said that Vince became aware of situations and helped out his fighters. Now, I've never seen a situation where Vince has been like accused of setting someone up or anything like that, and those wouldn't make sense to me. But I cannot remember the guy's name for the life of me. One of Vince's fighters went down to South America and got knifed up, and they were just like, "Yep, whatever." Like, Vince never, I can't remember how it was, but like Vince found out it happened and basically just pulled his other people out of it. He was like, well, time to go. Pack your shit up. Come on back. Get the fuck out of there. And it was just that simple for him. So like I know there's been situations where it's been said by more than one person, for example, like, well, Vince became aware of this situation and this is how he handled it. Once Vince became aware of this situation, this is how he handled it. So like, you know, I don't know if that makes him a good businessman or a bad businessman, but I know there have been situations like that. God damn it, I cannot remember that wrestler's name, bro. Dude got knifed right in the gut. Hogan was there. He was a semi big deal, bro. It was a bunch of big time wrestlers down there, bro. And the wrestlers all say they watched him get fucking stuck in the gut like a couple times, and the dude took off. But whatever it was, like the rustlers knew, like, I don't want to say it was like the cartel or whatever the fuck it was, but the rustlers did not feel like it, they did not feel like they could do anything about it at that point. Whatever this was, it was some type of group or some type of issue. And like, my understanding is Vince was like, well, business trip or not, fuck him, fuck all that shit, fuck calling the cops down there, get on the fucking planes and come home right now. And that was it.
Bruiser Brody.
Is that who that was?
Yeah. Bruiser Brody.
Okay. I knew it was someone. So it's just, you know, like, I would assume that, and I'm not at all defending Vince, but I would assume that in the business he has been in and the people he has been surrounded with for all those years, um, yeah. Could you imagine having to keep a dude like Macho Man Randy Savage in check so that you could get him on TV? That dude was out of his fucking mind.
They
Did
say he
you?
was a really nice guy though. I watched the Dark Side of the Ring where they talk about like they go back and talk about wrestlers and shit. They supposedly he was like a really nice guy. He just had an addiction.
Yeah.
Like
I've heard
the
that
whole
too.
the Macho Man was just a whole show.
Yeah.
Trace, was it you that posted that video? I don't know. It was like a year ago. You posted that video of like that incident on the plane with all the wrestlers and Vince. Was that you?
Probably so. Probably so because I watched that on that Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, because I watched it and it tripped me out. But I feel like it was you that posted it.
Yeah, they on a flight. They had a big ass fucking party and like they wrecked the fucking airplane. Like destroyed the inside of the airplane. And people like wrestlers were fighting and shit.
They were sexually assaulting like the stewardess and shit.
Ric Flair supposedly molested the stewardess with his big ass wiener. Like, wild ass shit, man.
Yeah, and like I'm not defending anybody. I'm just saying if you're Vince trying to keep your promotion together in the 1980s and 1990s, bro, these guys like it's crazy. Like I've heard Macho Man Randy Savage was a real nice guy too. I've heard multiple accounts of several situations where Macho Man like held Elizabeth hostage in a room and shit. He was fucking out of his mind, bro. He she was afraid for her life at one point and went to Hogan and his wife, and this is like the fallout. I don't remember the exact details now. It's been some years since I've seen the story, but they were like, yeah, you can stay here. And then Macho came looking for her, and Hulk was like, yeah, we ain't seen her, bro. And when Macho Man found that out, he wanted to fucking kill Hulk Hogan. Thought that Hulk Hogan was having an affair with Elizabeth and shit. Like, he was out of his mind. I know a little bit about steroids, and I can tell you this: there's different type of testosterones. There's like ethane. There's a whole bunch of different ones, right? But essentially, it's the release time. So when you're a guy who's doing long-term steroids, a lot of time you're gonna do the shit like you take your first shot 2 weeks before it kicks in, right? Like everything is basically 2 weeks back. And then you can get into some that are closer where you're 3 days back, some that go live like inside 24 hours. And then there's a thing called suspension. Suspension isn't really done anymore, but back in the 70s and then really in the late 80s and early 90s, dudes would do suspension. What suspension is it's like fucking, it's like pure fucking testosterone acetate. You stick the shit in your leg and you shoot it and you are jacked like in a movie. Like you fucking, your eyes start bugging out of your head. Your adrenaline goes to the roof. Like you go into instant roid rage and you stay like that for hours and you work out like that ideally. The problem is suspension takes you way up and then drops your ass way down. So these dudes that were doing this, like, I don't know if you know anything about Paxil, but Paxil, like if you took 20 milligrams in a day, that would be insane. Like dudes who bodybuilders are like, I'm on 30 grams of Paxil for the rest of my life every day. Bro, there were dudes that take suspension, dudes that were like Randy Savage's size. You would be on 50 milligrams of Paxil 2 to 3 times a day because that's how bad it will fuck you up. So like, I'm not at all defending Vince. I'm just like, bro, I don't know how you kept it together for as long as you did. They were after you in the 90s. Then they were after you in the early 2000s. They were after you in the late 2000s. They were after your ass 10 years ago.
And you know what's crazy too is in like the early 2000s, I was a teenager, and then like the mid 2000s, I was in high school. So then like the late 2000s was kind of when I became an adult, and I never really. I guess I was pretty naive to all of that because I didn't know about any of that because I was a huge fan. So I was extremely naive and I had no idea of all that shit. And then I became an adult and then I learned about some of it and I'm like, holy fuck, dude, this is just a corrupt ass fucking business, bro.
You guys know about Jake the Snake?
I don't think so.
Oh, bro, I don't know about whatever Dark Side you watched, but if they didn't talk about Jake the Snake. So let me give it to you this way. In the early 2000s, Jake the Snake was supposed to do an interview with MTV. Where Are They Now? And they were doing it because everybody knew that he was on drugs and they wanted to, that's what they were actually filming about. He wasn't supposed to know that and he didn't. But what they were actually filming about is his drug addiction, making him think they were filming about something else.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And when they were on the way, he called them and said, if you don't go to this address and bring me crack, I'm not doing your fucking interview. And they said, what? No. And they weren't going to do it. And then they're like, well, we'll come pick you up. And he's like, no, you go here, you buy me crack, you bring it to me, I smoke it, we do the interview. Them
Well,
dudes got
that's not good.
Yeah, them dudes got fucked up out there on the road, bro. A lot of times what happened, like so Jake the Snake eventually got clean. Diamond Dallas Page's yoga or whatever it is that made him famous again. He started that, I believe, to save Jake the Snake Roberts' life. I think it was Jake the Snake. Because it was like his best friend and he was all fucked up and he wanted to help him. And I remember seeing an interview with Jake, and Jake talked about how he was on the road like 200 nights a year and he got injured and he took some pain pills and he got addicted and then
Yep.
get him and then he's traveling state to state and then he can't find someone who can get him. So then somebody else is like, yo, I ain't got that, but I got this. And Jake will
Yep.
tell you that's how they got all of us.
Dude,
Bro,
that's
Kurt
how the
Angle was
business
talking
was.
about,
Yeah, it was just a cycle, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle was talking about on Joe Rogan's podcast that he used to take like 32 Oxycontins a day.
Holy fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's,
Like he was going through almost 1,000 a month.
I believe that, to be honest. Like, in the body, when you're taking that much juice and that much testosterone and steroids and shit to keep you flowing, your body's gonna take that. Your body's gonna do it. So
Bro, he broke his neck like 4 times.
I
Crazy.
know. He's
Yeah, he said he would just fucking chew him. Like he would just throw him in his mouth and chew him.
yeah, I've known some people like that. I've known some people that literally chew them so they hit you faster and shit.
Ugh.
Yeah, they're fucking disgusting, bro. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, yeah,
I'm
horrible.
so grateful I'm
So
good with weed.
anyways, to jump the subject, we've been rambling a little bit, but there is a little bit of a point to that. So WWE is now owned by TKO Endeavor. And I want to be very clear to say, I think that company had absolutely zero to do with any type of needing to get Vince McMahon out of there or any doing in it. I feel like they have money. I feel like the people have been trying to out Vince McMahon, seen Endeavor come in, and they were like, motherfucker, these guys. But they bought them, and Endeavor got WWE Raw broadcasting rights on Netflix starting in January 2025. weird that they would announce it already, in my opinion, but they did. I think the reason they announced it already is ahead of a documentary that's supposed to be coming out that apparently is being rumored that it is going to bury Vince McMahon. Like, this documentary is supposed to be like some R. Kelly level shit. Like, it is supposed to fucking bury him. And now, all of a sudden, the WWE has a TV deal, a broadcasting deal with Netflix. Isn't that special? And there's already articles coming out about the documentary will hold no punches against Vince McMahon and this, that. Like, those articles have already been published, and now they're publishing articles that even with the TV deal, this documentary, it was the first thing that they talked about when the deal happened, like people who knew. So I don't know if that shit is coincidence, man.
What's nuts too is I don't know his exact title, but Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, has something to do with the WWE. I wonder if they're still invested in him too now that like there's different owners and shit.
So he
Because
is.
he's actually done like a really good job with the show because he took over creative and he's done a really good job and he's changed the culture. I've read up on that too.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
completely
If I
changed the
had to
culture.
guess, Triple H's backhand, his backslide, not him like trying to throw Vince under the bus. I think Triple H is going in there and changing the culture as he has. It's probably been a huge part of what has helped put Vince McMahon in so much hot water.
Dude, you know what's crazy too is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but there have been rumors that him and Steph have actually gotten divorced. So if that is true, then I wonder why that plays
You
a
said
role.
they actually got what? Oh, divorced.
Yeah, that's a rumor. I don't know if it's true. I can't confirm it yet.
So I think that is true. Because even I know they got divorced, and I don't follow any of that shit. I think that is true. Yeah, I guess I could be wrong. I don't follow it, but I remember the headlines anyway. So maybe I got it wrong in the same way you did. But I just don't know what that's going to do for that whole deal and endeavor. And I just think that's I don't know, funny set of coincidences in my opinion. We got someone requesting to get on the mic here. Maybe they want to hit this subject before I change it. If not, I got a little bit more unless somebody else does. You boys hear me?
No, I've got nothing else on the subject, Joe. I'm ready for the next thing you got.
All right.
How good
So
was Undertaker?
say that again.
How cool was Undertaker though?
He was all right. I don't know.
I thought he was really killing motherfuckers. I'm not gonna lie.
He's like, I thought I seen someone die.
Dude, I remember the day when I found out it wasn't like what I thought it was. And yeah, dude, I have that same feeling, YB.
There was that one time where
I'm like, you're telling me these motherfuckers aren't getting lit on fire?
Bro, I swear, there was that one. He had like, what was it, like Orlando Bloom or something, like hanging from the rafters. Me and my brother were scared to death. Like, oh my god, he's really gonna die.
I mean, a lot of that shit actually was real, but yeah, a lot of it was definitely yeah. Next subject.
All right, so here's the subject. When the UFC takes someone on, they definitely invest some money into promoting that person. It's not really questionable. At least the people who reach any type of like stardom, right? So they probably feel invested in that person. What point is the name value and the investment value just outweighed? It looks like Tony Ferguson really is going to get another fight. I know they've invested a lot in Tony, and I know they did. Like, I get it that they've been with him for a while, but man, the UFC has got to get back to letting these guys go. There was a day where they would just cut them, let them go to fucking Bellator, and who cares? And man, that day needs to return. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's got anything to weigh in on that, but like, I just feel like that day has gone away now. Now there's a big grab for talent, and everybody wants, everybody wants to build this roster of 800 fighters. So we've got to watch guys like Tony Ferguson fight 0-8.
I mean, I've got to imagine. I mean, think about it though. The whole like business model has changed over the years. You know what I mean? Like everything is an entertainment aspect, and everything is just about grabbing the bag, right? So that probably plays a huge influence on it.
YB, go ahead.
Sorry, there was a fucking deer in the road. Bro, how much juice does Tony have left name wise? I personally believe he has one more, and I don't want to see him go out on Patty, bro. Come on, like that's just I can't with that. But who do you give him? Who could he possibly like? We've made jokes in the chat for the past like 3 fights, like he's gonna win this time. He's gonna win this time, bro. There's like I don't know if there's any of that left at this point.
Fuck, feed him with Jim Miller, man. Let Jim Miller get another highlight.
Yeah, I'd like to see him fight Jim Miller. That's fair. My daughter got told no about something, so we are in fucking meltdown mode over here. Iron Fred, go ahead, bro.
Hi guys, how we doing?
Good.
Great,
How are
brother,
you?
great.
Yeah, good. I've just got home from a night out, so I apologise. I'm pretty wavy.
Go ahead, brother. You good, man? Speak it.
Yeah. So, what do you think to the Jim Miller Bobby Green matchup? I quite like it, to be honest.
Oh, is that a thing?
Wait, it's done, isn't it? I thought.
You don't know they're
Andrew, can you
fighting?
confirm?
You didn't know that, Trace?
No, I did. I guess I didn't, or maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a little high
it's a
right
done
now.
deal. Jim Miller versus Bobby Green for UFC 300. So if he makes it the fights, it'll be 100, 200, and 300, which is insane. That's crazy.
It sucks that he's gonna go on UFC 300 and lose. That's sad.
Yeah, but even if he loses, I mean, fair play for doing 100, 200, 300.
Oh, absolutely. He's a legend. Like win, lose or draw, the dude's a legend. I mean, you can't take away what he's done. He's the most durable fighter in UFC history.
Well, is that like 40 plus just UFC fights? Is a little conspiracy theory. So obviously they're still waiting on the UFC 300 main event. They've just released a trailer for Roadhouse. Do you think that they're going to announce McGregor versus Chandler for UFC 300 after the trailer for Roadhouse?
I do not.
Do you reckon? I probably agree. I don't think, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
If I could bet it somewhere right now, I would bet that Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall is that main event. If I could bet it right now, I would bet it.
I don't think that'll happen because I follow a keen eye on Tom Aspinall and I know he's not in camp, so I don't think that's going to happen. I'll tell you what, they did miss a trick. You know,
It's
in
12 weeks. It's like 11 weeks out, bro. He don't got to be in camp yet.
well, yeah, that's true. Maybe 5 or 6 weeks out. Tell you what, they did miss a trick. You know when McGregor, in the trailer, McGregor he swings the golf club about. If he come in with a dolly and start smashing the pub up, that would have been the absolute perfect fucking. Because they got a load of stuff in there. They got the Stockton slap. They got in the I can't let you get close chael thing. And if he'd have come in with a dolly and just like knocked 3 people out, it'd have been the absolute perfect run up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they definitely missed the opportunity on the dolly there. I didn't even think of that. Now I'm disappointed that they didn't do it. I'll be honest. I mean, I don't even know that I'll watch that movie. If I had to say yes or no, I would say I probably won't even watch it.
Oh mate, I don't go to cinema much, because it's shit in the UK. All the cinemas are shit, but that's probably the one film I'm most excited about watching. The funny thing as well is McGregor, he's just playing himself. It's like, how can you fuck up just playing yourself? Like, he's literally just playing his own fucking. It's just him, innit? He goes into a bar, he beats up an old man. The only difference is he has got a dolly. He's literally playing himself, isn't he?
I can't disagree with that. All right, so I got one for you. Have any of you guys heard of Murad Ramazanov?
He sounds like a Sunny.
Crickets.
So he's probably leaving one and going to the UFC. This dude grew up training. He's a few years younger than Nurmagomedov and Makhachev, and he's from Dagestan. He's been training. He was mentored by Nurmagomedov.
Has he been on the old Russian training program?
Yeah, he's he's probably a prospect to watch. Man, I don't got my glasses. I'm going so fucking blind. I don't know how it happened so fast. Like I could pretty much see if I squinted just a few months ago. I swear to God.
I saw someone put, didn't they, like every champion. So what was it? Start at bantamweight, is it Mokaev? Featherweight was the guy that just beat Arnold Allen, Evloev. Something else featherweight. Right, let's start. If you're gonna do all Dagestani, start at the bottom.
How'd you
So
guys score the Evlov fight?
see, I thought I'm biased because I'm British, so it was a close fight. So you can't really argue either
I think
way.
it comes down to round one. Round two, clear Evlov. Round three, I think, is Arnold.
Yeah,
Round
exactly.
one,
It's
I don't really
round
know
one.
if Evlov really landed anything. Like, he had the
Yeah,
takedowns,
you're
but
100% right. It comes down to round one, doesn't it? It's close as fuck. I'd love to see a rematch. I'd
like,
love to see that fight.
okay, if you're just judging it over 15 minutes, no rounds, Evlov was like the better fighter over 15 minutes. But if you're looking at the 3 rounds, I think Arnold won 1 and 3.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what's the is it the 5Ds or 3Ds? So it's damage, duration, dominance. There's another 2 in there.
Yeah, I don't even think the judges like think about that when they're scoring. They just like go with whatever they won't get hate for, in my opinion.
Yeah, but did you hear about where the Strickland Duplessis fight? Apparently, the judge that scored a split decision, apparently he gave Strickland like a controversial decision years ago. And ever since then, he's always favoured on side of Strickland.
No, Sal
Sal
scored the fight
D'Amato,
exactly the way he always scored the fight. Yeah,
I
Sal
think
D'Amato
Sal had
scored
the
the
right
fight
card.
exactly.
I mean,
He
the
did.
Strickland Duplessis fight, I can't really like. I mean, would like lean Strickland, but I mean, I can't call it a robbery either way.
Oh yeah, it's not a robbery. This annoys me as well.
Yeah.
Is like you can't a close fight. You can't call a close fight a robbery. It was. I was happy either way. I personally thought Strickland won. However, if it's that close either way, you can't really complain.
Yeah, I think the Cannonier fight, Strickland won more than the Duplessis fight. I think the Cannonier fight was a borderline robbery. Like, Cannonier wasn't landing anything. He just looks super athletic and he's swinging, so it looks like he's doing all this damage. Versus because like Strickland's so pale, so it looks like he's getting cut up, but like he
Yeah. Do
isn't.
you know what it reminded me of? The Yoel Romero Izzy fight. It's like you've got to beat.
Oh
I know it's
Jesus! I
bollocks.
wish I could forget it.
Well, exactly. I know it's bollocks. I know it's complete bollocks, and you don't score a fight off it. But in my opinion, you do have to. You've got to take the fight to the champ. You've got to beat the champ to be the champ. That is complete bollocks. It doesn't mean anything. But it did remind me of the Romero Izzy fight. To be honest.
Yeah.
So, did you guys see Trace? Did you see that Jessica Andrade got on 300?
Yeah, but I forgot who she's fighting though. But I thought it was gonna
Marina
be.
Rodriguez. That's why you forgot.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
That's terrible.
interesting on the feet for as long as it lasts. I feel like
Even
somebody's gonna get knocked out.
it better be over quick.
I would think so.
Andrade has 0 shot.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way at this point in her career. She's
Well, she could wrestle technically because Marina has pretty bad takedown defense in the past couple fights. But other than that, I think Marina wins that.
Do you think that them female fights should be on the main card?
Not that female fight.
If you look at like the last few big female fights, they've been pretty poor, aren't they?
I think the Kayla Harrison fight is worthy of the main card just because of the eyes it draws. Not that I think she deserves to be on the main card, like on a UFC 300. But I think we'll put her on.
Like it should be like the main card, but not main event, surely.
I'm actually very curious to see how that main card stacks up because they've got all these fights that are like kind of the same level of fight in mine. Like you're gonna get Gaethje Holloway, right? You're gonna get Yan Xiaonan versus Wei Li, and then under that you figure Kayla Harrison's fight's got to be on the main. Like they're not. That would only make sense. So that's 3 of them already. You Charles Oliveira, Bo Nickel. Like I'm being honest.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm retarded. Who's Kayla fighting again? I already forgot.
Holly Holm.
Holly Holm.
Oh, that's right. At 35 or 45?
35. 35. How the fuck is she gonna make 35 as well?
Wait, she's like a roided out 55, or she's like fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she went up to 55. She went up to 55.
I know, but like
we talked about it.
How is she making 35?
She's
That's
like
a huge
45.
cut.
Like
guys,
she didn't want to make 45.
Guys.
I know she was a 45er. I'm just saying that's a
Joe,
lot
fill
of
him
weight.
in, please. Fill him in.
She was a 35er.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't fucking follow Kayla Harrison's weight journey.
She was a 35er, and when she had to train in the same gym as Ronda, she couldn't train at 35 because she couldn't get the coaches that she needed.
She's at that
it's
judo gym.
It's still a big cut, though, isn't it? If
she hasn't cut to 35 in a while. That's my point.
Yeah, it's still a huge cut either way, isn't it?
I think with the PI behind her, it'll be.
And all for American Top Team supplements. You know what I mean? If you catch my drift.
Oh yeah.
I reckon there's still 2 fights to make. Obviously, Leon versus Bilal is one of the. But it's such a boring fight. It can't be UFC 300.
Yeah, have they signed that officially? No.
No, Dana said that the fight will happen, but they've not announced where.
I think Dana's hoping Bilal gets injured, so they could do
Yeah, I'd rather see
someone for
All
interim.
right, we're just rambling all over the place here. Let's try to stay on at least a subject or something. Like we're just bouncing card to card, fight to fight. Let's try to pick something here. Trace, have you looked at the 300 card yet? Are you that far in yet? Capping. Trace picks fights. Does he not fucking hear me? Andrew.
What's up?
Where'd Trace go? Oh, he's got his kid. Kid probably throwing a fit. He's got his kid. So 300. Tell me which one of these fights will not make the main card. Justin Gaethje, Holloway.
No.
Weili Zhang, Yan Xiaonan.
No.
Main card, right?
Yeah, like these ones are definitely main card.
Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian.
Main card, title eliminator.
All right.
Yeah.
Yuri Prochazka, Alexander Rakic.
Prelim.
Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage.
Prelim for
that
sure.
That might be like feature prelim.
No, I think Yuri would be the feature prelim if they put him on the prelim.
All right. Kelvin Cater, Aljamain Sterling.
Prelim.
Okay, so now you're telling
Kayla's getting on the main card.
So you're telling. So listen, I'm actually saying that this card is crazy stacked. None of the fights are that one fight where you're like, oh my god.
The one thing is at least 1 or 2 will get canceled. Like Yuri's good chance to get injured. Charles good chance to get injured. So one of them will get canceled in all odds, or 2.
He actually is right. Whenever cards are super stacked, people get hurt all the time.
Like, gun in my head, there's at least going to be one big fight that gets canceled.
It's still too many. Like, even if we miss one, it's still too many.
Yeah.
Still too many.
But think about, they actually want to stack the prelims because it's going to be on ESPN main card. So it's actually a big deal to be the feature fight of the prelims. Like, just think about how many people will be tuning into that.
Yeah, I mean, I get all that. My
Yeah.
point is, who gets bumped? So you've got Harrison, Gaethje, Zhang, Aljamain Sterling, Yuri, Bo Nickel, Charles Oliveira, Davison
Bo
Figueroa.
Nickel will not be in the main event. I think it'll be prelims.
You want
No
me to-
chance he's in the main card. He's bet on prelims
I
and
would-
lesser cards.
Yeah,
I
we're
would
talking
bet
about
20
prelims. I
bucks.
think it'll be prelims.
I would bet $20 right now he's on the main card. Bo Nickel is one of the
I'll take
biggest
that
stars
action.
on that. Bo Nickel is one of the
Venmo?
biggest stars on the entire card.
I'll sign to your DMs on that bet.
So Joe, let's write down these main card fights, right? So apparently we still don't have the main event. So that's one.
One. That's my point. We're supposed to be getting one more.
Yeah. Kayla's the main card. She has to be. There's no other way.
Without question. So is
Plus Jim
Justin.
Miller's fight.
The Wei Lee fight has to be the main card. It's a fucking title fight.
So wait,
There's no argument.
wait. What if the Wei Lee fight is the prelims main?
Honestly, I
No,
was gonna
no
say that's
fucking
stupid.
way.
Honestly, I was gonna say that's stupid, but you
But it's
might
not.
have a point. Like, think about the viewers that would draw on ESPN.
No, there's no chance.
There's
that
no
Wei
chance,
Lee
but
is on the prelims.
ESPN
No
would
chance.
love that.
Listen,
No
Dana
chance.
wants to get that Asian market bad, and why would he make anybody pay for that fight?
It'll be main event. To be honest, it's not pre.
I'm not buying it.
No,
I'm not.
no, it's 95% chance it's gonna be on the main card, but that honestly is an interesting idea. If you're ESPN, you're gonna get so many viewers.
Bo
We
Nickel
still
will be
have
on
the
the
Jim
undercard,
Miller
but Wei
fight
Lee will be
and
on the.
Jim Miller's might be. Jim Miller might be like feature fight of the early prelims or early
I think it'll be
prelims.
the main fight of the prelims.
Dude, over like a Yuri fight, because you have to think rankings. You can't go from two unranked lightweights to.
This is 300. Rankings won't matter.
I heard
The BMF belt will be fought for over a real belt, and that's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, Yuri's fighting after Jim Miller. I'll bet my life on that.
Oh, after Jim Miller, I wouldn't disagree that he's fighting after Jim Miller, but I'm looking at the fact that everybody's like, what else is coming? There's not much room for any more star power on this.
It's just the main. It's just the main event.
So what I'm looking
Get away
at,
with
though,
not adding a main event, to be honest.
do you think so, Andrew? Are you looking at that card? It sounded like you were looking at the card. Are you looking at it?
No, I was just trying to realistically count the 5 fights that are going to be it.
So if you look at it,
hold on, let me pull
Jessica Andrade lines up to be like on the early prelims. So at most it's going to be 5 and 5, right? At most it's going to be 5 and 5.
Early prelims, I think.
So you have Justin, Whaley, Yuri, Cater, Nickel, Oliveira, Figueiredo, Green.
Jesus Christ.
Then you have the Kayla Harrison fight. Then you have the title fight. That's 11. Jessica Andrade is going to be on the early prelims, in my opinion.
Oh,
and for this card, I get it. Like, that's fine. And that, no disrespect to her. We all know I love Jessica Andrade, but it's like they're trying to make this a stacked card. So it's like that's actually a compliment in itself because of a fighter of her caliber is on the early prelims. That shows you it's a good card.
And I know we're all dying for like a huge main event, but short of that main event, this is a way better card than $299.
Oh,
it's
obviously, yeah.
Way better card. The Twitter narrative that 300 sucks and $299.
Well, people just like to complain. People like to complain. What would you guys say?
Yeah, people love bitching.
Yeah.
I think it's people are waiting
I have
for
a
that
question.
big
I have
main
a
event
question
out there.
for the group. What would you guys say was the last best card? My Pereira versus Adesanya in Miami, maybe.
I thought we were on 300.
It's important to the conversation. I'm asking what the last great card in your opinion was.
So I was at Fight Week, so any card you're at is great. So Fight Week was it for me.
Yeah, the Miami card was good.
I think I'd say Miami was pretty great.
Yeah, Miami is good.
Okay, but you said it's important to the conversation. Is that going somewhere, or you just wanted to know? And I don't care. I don't want to cut you off if you were going somewhere, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was going nowhere with that.
Okay, so here's your 5, I think. You have the main event that's like still to be determined. You got the Whaley fight, the Gagey fight, the Oliveira fight, and then the Holly Holm Kayla Harrison fight. I think that's your 5.
If you add in Leon versus Bilal, that's probably a good enough card. It's a shit fight, but it's probably a good enough card.
Dude, I think this card is great the way it is, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, it's good to fair. Yeah,
If they had some dumb shit though, like AP versus Tom, like ugh.
I don't want to see that personally. I don't want to see it. But
I'm just tired of all this division hopping. It's fucking annoying.
So the one thing I would say, like, all right, if we're moving out of the 300 zone a little bit, is if we talk Tom Aspinall for a minute. So Tom Aspinall has to. Dana White is going to do something with Tom Aspinall. He's not going to let him sit there and bash on John Jones, which is his only statute to say that he has the greatest heavyweight on earth and that the PFL doesn't.
But
So
you know the fight
Dana
they're going to
White,
make, though, don't you?
what do you think it is?
Well, it's guaranteed it'll be Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. 100%.
That fight's not happening. They've made that clear.
I guarantee that fight will happen. Guarantee it.
I don't think it will.
Have you heard as well? I didn't realise as well. So at the moment, the biggest venue in Europe is the O2 Arena, which is where the last, I think, 2 or 3 UFCs have been in England. They're currently building the venue, which is going to hold 25,000 in Manchester, just next to Man City's ground. So it's due to be finished, I think, either later this year or whenever. So I think they'll do a card in the north of England, 25,000. Leon, if he's still champion, and Tom Aspinall. And it'll break the record gate in Europe with 25,000. I think.
Nah, there's no way that they're holding them two champions up waiting on an arena that's not built yet. There's no way. They're gonna book them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
they're gonna book them is the problem. Like I see how you feel. Like
or we could fight the winner of Blades versus Almeida, which is who I think he should fight.
I don't think that's what they're gonna do. So
who do you think Aspinall fight then?
I think Aspinall is fighting AP next. I think
he's gonna whoop his ass though. It wouldn't even become competitive. I think it'd be.
You said Tom would whip his ass based on what? The fact that he has a 3-punch combo and nothing else. He's gonna outstrike the one
based on the fact he's
on the planet.
Right, he's twice his size. He's
no, he's not. They're the same fucking height, and AP walks around at 240. No,
Pereira's
he's not.
I thought Pereira's 6'3", isn't he?
Yeah, what, 2 inches? 2 inches and 10 pounds, and he's twice his size? That's not
right.
So bro, Aspinall's going to take him down, and that fight is going to end 2 minutes after that shit happens.
Yeah, I agree. What's Pereira? 6'3", made middleweight. Tom Aspinall struggles to make fucking 240. He's a huge man.
No one struggles to make 240. He's got to make 265. He just weighs 240, bro.
Yeah, no, he walks around at 260. What I'm saying is there's no chance at all. He's just so much bigger than Pereira. So much bigger.
Well, I've been calling this for a long time. And now Dana White does not have to have the guy fight John Jones. He will be the first 3-division champion. And that is how you get John Jones to keep fighting after he beats up Stipe. John don't care about Tom Aspinall.
Fight, but I think Aspinall fucking demolishes him. I don't even think it's competitive at all.
I don't know. I think that everybody has kind of thought AP sucks this whole time. Including
Pereira is one of the greatest MMA. I think he's amazing. I think everything about him is amazing. But Aspinall takes him down and does what he wants with him.
Who did we see Aspinall do that to?
Well, Volkov. Also, Arlovsky. You got to think.
I'm waiting for you to name someone that's not like. I'm waiting for you to name someone worth naming. He took down Arlovsky when he was 174 fucking years old. Ooh,
Volkov was a top 5 heavyweight at the time.
Yeah, Volkov was top 5. Volkov is one of the longest fight time. Has been finished, but very rarely finished. And
he also has one of the lowest takedown defenses in the heavyweight division. You can go watch every fight, including
fight time.
Derek Lewis took him down. Derek Lewis took him down.
You're telling me that Aspinall can't take if he takes Volkov down and submits him. You're saying he can't do that to Pereira?
What I'm saying is we have no evidence that that would work on Pereira the way it worked
Wait,
on
it
Volkov.
didn't.
Even though
Volkov, who's got
we
better
have
ground.
evidence that everybody,
Hey,
even
Joe,
Derek
Joe,
Lewis,
Joe,
can take Volkov
Joe,
down.
Joe. Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Kick this hey guy. He's spamming our fucking space with this shit. Kick him.
He's been removed.
Yeah, he posted a bunch of like porn up there, bro.
Did he?
What
I
the
don't know how
You don't
to.
fuck
see it?
is that?
You don't see it?
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, brother.
Trace, are you there? Can you delete that shit?
I can.
I'm just.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but that
Oh,
shit was ridiculous. And he kept fucking putting more and more and more and more.
it
That's
looks
pretty
like just
sick.
the same thing over and over and over.
Oh my god.
Get famous? Let's see here. Dude, I've deleted it like 27 times. How many did he put?
What the fuck?
He's just sitting there doing it the whole
No,
time.
just ignore it. Just ignore it, guys. God damn.
Yeah, it's like fucking 20 of them up there or something.
Oh my.
Nah, bro, this shit's recorded. We got to delete it.
Yeah,
Oh
what?
really? Oh L.
Yeah, that's actually someone probably trying to crash the space.
YouTube's gonna flag us for that.
Hold on, I'm doing this.
Connor, you got your hand up. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just want to speak on the whole AP thing. I think that, or I mean, the Tom Aspinall stuff. Yeah, I do agree that Tom would beat AP. I think he would beat him in the way that Iron described. We saw that Izzy took down AP in their first fight. I'm pretty sure, and he didn't hold him down very long. But Tom is a massive heavyweight, athletic, and has shown to be able to take dudes down and submit them. He's also got a decent stand up. I'd probably favor AP on the feet though, but that's why Tom would take him down. So I agree that that fight kind of is pointless. And then if Joe is saying that that's a way to lure John to staying as the heavyweight champion to fight a guy that's a 3-weight champion or whatever, well, when Tom beats him, I mean, what then? John's just going to retire and keep ducking Tom. So I don't know what they're going to do with Tom.
Listen, let's be very, very clear about something. The idea that John Jones needs to duck Tom Aspinall is
Crazy.
literally the epitome of you're so dumb, I don't want to talk to you about MMA. The man has fought the list of the scariest people in the history of fucking MMA. Go check the resume. Go check them. They're all Hall of Famers. They're all murderers. They're all legend. And now he's scared of Tom fucking Aspinall.
That's
No.
crazy. That's a crazy take. I mean, like,
It's not crazy. I'm not saying he's scared. Nobody said he's scared. What he's doing is
At
he's
this point
choosing.
in John Jones' career, please understand
Yeah.
that you have to have enough to fight him. And what I mean is,
No.
what do you bring? John Jones is not like you guys are like, oh, the champion this, the champion that. Bro, John Jones is beyond the champion.
No,
Then
Joe,
give up
you
the
get
belt. Then give up the
getting it wrong,
belt.
Joe.
If
You're
he's
getting it
more
wrong,
than the
Joe.
champion, then he's holding up the division. Then this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you're getting it wrong, Joe. Massively.
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not.
Joe,
Joe, you know why
Joe,
all this shit came about, right?
Because
It's because of that fucking
Tom
interim
was given
title
an
bullshit.
opportunity, because Tom was given a gift, because the UFC said, you know what, hey Tom, you know what we're gonna do? That fight's gonna take a year. It's already booked. You know it. John's hurt. Fight's gonna take a year. What we want to do is let you step up, get the interim belt. And what comes along with that is pay-per-view points and championship pay. And if you're still champion, win John after John fights Stipe. If he's still fighting, you're next. But if not, we want to go ahead and get the division moving with you in lieu of that. And Tom said, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And then he smacked the gift horse in the face and said, well, now I'm the champion. Give me that fight. They gave him that fight.
they gave
I
it.
promise you, he knew that that fight was in lieu of the fact that the Stipe John fight was postponed. Now, He's a whiny bitch. Now he won, and he's like, "Oh, I deserve that fight, bro." You knew the score when you got the fight. Quit whining. You knew the score.
Hey, really quick. So I just want to bring this up. Does the interim title, as much as it seems, does it have any power? Obviously, like a BMF.
Yes, this
Now,
would not be the first time that the interim title has been defended while the champion was off. Matter of fact, there's at least 3 fighters that have defended the interim belt more than one time. And there are 2 interim champions. I'd have to go look them. I wrote the whole list. I
I
have it
think
somewhere.
Barrow's won. Barrow's
And
definitely
then
won.
there's 2 of them that won it, defended it again, and then the champ never came back and they went on to be the champion. That's happened too.
That's
Matter of fact, the very
yeah.
first interim title, I believe if you go find the very first interim title the UFC ever did, he defended it 3 times. Or defended it twice, won the interim title back, then defended and then unified it. Think about that. The champion was off. The interim champion won it, defended it, lost it before it got unified by the next
Wow.
who had the belt. Like people talking about how he has all this right and he has all this, bro. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it has ever worked. I've been watching the sport since this shit started, and that's not how it works. It's just not. So I just don't feel like I feel like people are misconstruing what an interim champion is. It's in the intermediate. It's in the interim. Hands went up and hands went up. I know Connor's going to get after it hard. Let's let Iron go and then Connor.
No, let him go first because he had his hand up first. So.
He's going to kill me on that take, though, bro. You're probably going to be way faster than him. So I'm just telling you, go ahead.
No, let Connor go first because I'm about to go in. So let Connor go first.
All right, Connor, let me have it.
I'm not saying that Jon is scared of Tom. I know that Jon is like the greatest fighter of all time. I'm not saying he's scared. But him not ducking people when he was a light heavyweight and fighting all the top contenders back in the day, 10 years ago, however long it was, is not relevant today because he's actively choosing a fighter in Stipe who is going to be on a 4-year layoff coming off a loss, has shown nothing. He's going to be 42. He's actively choosing the easier fight. That's why I'm saying he's ducking him.
Yeah,
There's
but wait,
nothing to.
hold on. Hold on.
Wait, wait.
Because
Wait,
almost
let me get
4
this off.
years ago, it was
What?
made very clear by John Jones that I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to get my weight up. I'm going to beat Francis. I'm going to beat Stipe. And I'm going to retire. And we've all known that. We have all known that since he fucking surrendered the 205 belt.
Why did he fight? Why'd they have him fight Gon instead of Stipe for the vacant title?
Because Stipe wasn't ready or whatever. That's not
Okay, well
on him.
then
That's not
I
on John.
simply don't care about John Jones's plan. They gave Tom the interim title, and then when you come back from injury, you unify that. You don't get to just duck Tom
Based
and
on
fight the
what
easier
though?
guy.
That's not how it's ever went.
How
That's
so?
just not how
How
it's only
so?
went like that half the time, bro. Like you just
Name
want
the
the rule
time. Name the
to
time that
be
it
what you
doesn't.
want the rule to be. That's not what
No,
the rule
name the
is.
time that it hasn't, Joe.
I'm gonna go get the list and I'm gonna name the 15 times that it hasn't because
Because
I
when
wrote the
Justin
whole
was
list.
interim title, he
No,
fought
no.
Habib. When
I wrote
Dustin
the
was,
list.
he
I
fought
wrote the
Habib.
whole list.
When Izzy
Yeah,
was
I
interim
know.
title, he
Who
fought
did
Rob.
Max Holloway fight to unify his title?
Jose.
Who did he
Jose.
unified it with Jose?
Yes,
Jose
Jose was
wasn't the
getting.
champion, bro.
No. Listen, Joe. Connor got the title
Who
vacated.
did Izzy unify it with?
Rob.
Okay, let's go see here. I got the
Rob
list.
and Izzy did not defend the interim title. He did not have another fight between Kelvin and Rob. Henan Barao got the interim title from against Uriah Faber, defended it against Michael McDonald and Eddie Wineland, and then Dominic was not able to come back, so he fought Uriah Faber as a defense or whatever. But that was for the undisputed title because they stripped Dominic, and then he was given the title as undisputed champion.
Okay.
There are more cases where the guys either come back and fight the champion or there's actually just more like Carlos Condit.
So
Nick
Big Knock.
Diaz.
All right. You ready? Because
Yeah,
I've
go
got a
ahead.
list. I've got a list,
Go
bro. And
ahead.
you guys are gonna get tired of hearing me say this because I
Go
got
ahead.
in this argument with someone. So Big Knock won the interim heavyweight title championship at UFC 81. It goes back that far. He then went on to lose the interim title to Frank Mir. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar won the undisputed title at UFC 91 and didn't unify it until UFC 100 against Frank Mir. So it's not how it works. You want me to keep going? I got a bunch of these, bro. Like it's just going to be redundant. I wrote a whole
Yeah, but
fucking thread
I've
about it.
given you just as many examples.
Okay, I'm going to give you all the examples, and I was trying not to be a dickhead.
But wait. But what about my examples though, Joe?
My point is, you're trying to state that is a rule. It is not
I'm
a
not. No,
rule.
I'm not saying
What
it's a
I
rule.
will
I'm
say to
saying what
you,
should
what I
happen.
will say to you is the way that I say it should be done went on for about 9 years before the 6 examples you have happened. That's what I'll say to you.
What's happened recently though,
Okay.
or no?
All right. I'm
Because
going to go through.
all my examples, and I'm sure I could go back even further. Like Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit. Carlos Condit won, did not defend the title, came back and unified against GSP.
Damn, Joe, you got served, boy.
Oh, I was smoking my weed. I'm sorry. I was listening to I fucking eating weed through a fucking pipe.
I
All right,
understand what you're saying, Joe, and then I'll let it be, and then let somebody else have the mic. All I'm saying is, I get that your examples, and I know
So
that
who
you
did
have
Fabricio Verdum unify it with? He won it and went on to defend it and kept it. Who did he unify it with?
Kane.
No, he didn't.
Who did he fight after he fought against Mark Hunt, and who did he fight against after that?
I'm like sure that wasn't to unify. I got to go 3 windows
Who?
now.
Wait, but Joe, who did he? When did he fought Kane?
Yeah, that was on the. That was when Kane had it, right?
Yes. So he unified, and he didn't fight
Uh,
anybody in
he
between.
lost it before he fought Kane.
No, he did not. Against who?
I'm
no,
pretty.
he beat Kane, then he lost to Stipe.
Yes.
Oh, that's right on that one. I gotta bring, bro. I'm out here trying to bring all this shit up now because I'm in
And
these.
I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, Joe, in the sense that like they're yeah, I understand your examples. Like both of us are bringing facts to this. What I'm saying is, I just don't think that they should do what you're saying. I think that they should, especially when the precedent recently has said that when you have an interim title, you unify it against the champion. And John, you can call it duck, and you can. I'm not saying you're scared, but he is actively choosing the easier opponent and holding up the
No,
division.
but
And
wait,
you're even saying
bro,
that they're choosing
bro.
AP and not Surreal Gone.
Stop though. Stop it. Stop
Stop
it.
what?
The fight was already picked. It is a very entitled thing for you or Tom to think that he has any claim. John doesn't need to go over and say, "Oh, you're right. I'm going to take this fight. It's harder." You're not the champ, bro. You got
I
a
don't
belt.
work. I
No.
yeah.
You got a belt only because they needed to fill a pay-per-view. I am the champion and my next title
Then
fight was already booked.
that's the UFC's fault, and that's
Oh,
their problem. They gotta know
I
their
am the
oh,
bed. They live.
champion, and my next fight is already booked. Whatever you worked out for your deal is your problem, kid. My deal has been inked already. My deal was inked before you got your deal, kid. So go
But
play with your fucking toy belt
you're
because
speaking
that's what it is.
you're speaking on John's behalf though. But that's the UFC's mistake on giving Tom the interim title.
No, it's
So
not.
John
So
could
let
also
me
be upset
all right,
then.
all right. So here's the real truth. I don't think John and Tom ever fight, no matter
Oh, I
what.
don't either. I don't either because John's going
But
to
here's
retire.
why. Nope. I don't think Dana White will push it. And I have already explained this. I have explained this before. So they tried to do it with 205, and this is the truth. The next heavyweight champion, the next guy, I'm not talking about the next guy to have the belt. I'm talking about the guy, him, the one, the greatest. He could be better than John Jones. He could be better than the guy, right? And this is a model the UFC has pushed for years. He cannot lose to John Jones. because you stripped it. He can't be the greatest. He can't be. You ruined it. He can't be. It is very important to the UFC to build a champion who has not been beat by Jon, who could rival any champion that you say is the greatest. Now, like right now, if they're like, Ngannou could knock Tom out, UFC could at least stand on the leg. No, he can't, bitch. Come get some. No, he can't. But if Jon goes in there and beats Tom, that's out the door, and Jon is still retiring. Jon is
Paul,
still going to leave, even if
let-
he destroys their next champion for them. It is very important for the UFC. It's like, what was the fight? God damn it.
go. Yeah. Go. Let Iron get on the subject.
Oh, my bad.
Iron, go ahead.
Yeah, so just to, from my opinion, obviously I'm biased because I'm British, but the way I saw it was basically so John Jones versus Stipe fight was made, which was a legacy fight. Everyone thought, fucking, that is the fight to make. Where they dropped the ball quite clearly was obviously when John Jones got injured. They should never have made that fight an interim belt. They just shouldn't have done it. But what they did do is they stuck an interim belt on. They didn't realise what would happen afterwards. So obviously Tom knocked out Pavlovich, who was like basically the next big thing, the heavy Russian knockout artist. He knocks him out straight away. As soon as Tom knocked that guy out, he solidified himself as the number one contender, interim champion. As soon as he did that, the Stipe and Jones fight was dead in the water in terms of like number one contender champion, because Stipe isn't the number one contender if he's not fought for 3 years and also on the back of a knockout loss 3 years ago. Tom Aspinall's number one contender. There's never been a time before. Obviously, the interim belt has been defended before. I 100% agree. That's why.
Stipe already was the number one contender. Is your argument that Stipe's not the number one contender because he timed it out? Is that your argument?
No, what I'm saying is he's not the number one contender.
He was the number one contender. Are
Yeah,
you
but no,
arguing
but
that he
what?
timed it
Yeah,
out?
but yeah, but what I'm
He
saying is,
lost the belt and never lost again. That makes him the number one contender by lineal, by all lineage.
can I finish
He
my
lost.
Absolute,
can I
Joe.
finish
Come
my
on.
point? Can I finish my point?
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, I agree. Stipe was the number one contender. That fight was 100% the fight to make. However, the second that Aspinall knocked out Pavlovich, he all of a sudden interim champ, number one contender. So the Stipe fight to me is dead in the water. So what they should have made, there was two options there. You either make the Jones Aspinall fight once he comes back from injury, which I don't think is the fight to make. But what you do make is Stipe versus Aspinall as a number one contender interim champion fight. I agree, 100% agree. Aspinall probably hasn't done enough to warrant a fight with Jones. However, Stipe can't turn down an interim title fight and then also get a title fight after turning it down.
So, but he can because he already has a fight on contract. He
It
already
doesn't
has
matter.
a deal.
Time has changed, so it doesn't matter. If you've got an interim belt in the meantime against a guy that
Guys, I don't think you
I-
understand how it
yeah,
works.
but
Stipe already has paperwork saying he gets to fight Jon.
yeah, I'm not disputing that. What I'm
So,
disputing.
are they going to pay Stipe to sit on the side?
No, I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is Stipe went from the number one contender to fighting Jones, and rightly so, because he's the heavyweight goat. But you can't have an interim belt Aspinall fucking chinning someone inside 30 seconds, and then Stipe's still number one contender. That's just not how it works.
So,
Absolutely, make the fight, but it should not be a title fight. It just shouldn't be a title fight. Jones should have vacated the belt, let Aspinall fight whoever, make the Stipe Jones fight, and then do whatever you want afterwards. But there is no way that Stipe should still be number one contender after Aspinall's resume, after him knocking out
what resume, bro?
Look at his heavyweight resume. Look how can you deny Aspinall his heavyweight resume especially compared to Jones for a start. But forget that because he's champion. Stipe got knocked out 3 years ago by Ngannou. Got knocked out. He's not fought since. He should not be number one contender. Forget what he said. The UFC, right, is about the best fight.
Okay, so here's what I want to say. So, with this argument,
Yeah,
you're saying throw meritocracy out the window.
I'm saying the best fight the best, and that's not what's happening.
Okay.
And it isn't, and no one can deny that the best are not fighting the best.
So we're saying that Jake Collier, Alan Boudreaux, Andre Arlovsky at 40, Sergey Spivak, Alexander Volkov, Marcin Tybura, and Sergey Pavlovich is a resume. Okay,
Right,
that's
right,
cool.
You lost me
right.
at
All right.
Jake Collier.
Okay, so
Joe, talk about
Was
Stipe's resume
Pavlovich
in
the
the
number one
past 4
contender?
years.
Yes or no? Was Pavlovich the number one contender? Yes or no?
Pav was ideally the number one contender after the Stipe fight. So
Right,
Tom took that
and tell,
spot from him, in my
tell me
opinion.
who would fight him, because none of them would fight him.
What do you mean?
They all turned him down. Stipe turned him down. Gan turned him down. Jones turned him down. So who would fight Pavlovich? The problem they had was they should have never made that fight for an interim belt. They should have made it a number one contender fight. That's where they dropped the ball. The second they made it for a belt is where they fucked up massively, hugely. It just should not have been for a belt. The second that fight happened, all of a sudden Stipe gets skipped because he disagreed with fighting either of the contenders. So he wouldn't fight obviously Pavlovich or Aspinall, and he just wanted to fight Jones. I've nothing against Jones for making that fight. I've got nothing against Stipe for making that. That fight should happen. However, in the heavyweight division, the best fight the best. Stipe is not the best. Jones is a champion. Stipe should not have that title shot after the interim belt. It just shouldn't happen. The best fight the best. This is not the best fight the best. Have I lost connection or are people still there? Hello? Hello?
Is anybody
Have I
there?
lost connection? Oh, sorry, I thought I lost connection there.
No, I was waiting for Joe to respond.
Yeah, so, yeah, same.
Joe must have lost connection. Go ahead, Connor. What do you got?
Youngboy can go first. I think his hand was up first.
YB, go ahead. Some Connor, go ahead. Fuck it.
All right. Yeah, I think everything that Iron said is 100% facts. I agree with pretty much everything he says. Um, Joe, I have a question. You were saying that Tom's resume isn't very great, and some of those names aren't great, but his last few are pretty good. Um, Speaking of resumes, can you tell me Stipe's resume in the past 3 years that warrants him another title shot?
Listen, I've heard you try to ask me like that really clever question 3 times. I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
But then, what do you mean the resume of Tom? Like you're
So,
shitting on that one, but Stipe just gets to waltz right in after not fighting for. He's not showing up to work, really.
bro,
He doesn't.
what are you
He's
talking
practically
about?
unemployed.
Waltz right in. Do you not know who Stipe is? Do you think
No,
this
I know
guy's
who
not?
Stipe was though. I do know who Stipe was.
So
He's
Stipe
not
gets
that
knocked out
anymore.
one time.
No, twice. No, twice.
He didn't end his
And
career
then
getting knocked out
after he got
twice.
knocked out the first time by DC, he got an immediate title shot. So now he gets another one. That's crazy. One fight in between that as well. He beat actually 2 fights, I guess. He lost to DC, sat out, got an immediate title shot, won it, beat DC again, and then lost, and now he gets another title shot. Not even against the guy that he lost to. After 3 years, almost 4 years by the time the fight happened, against the guy in Tom who's been racking up wins.
Did someone beat Stipe or someone ranked over him to take position over him? Did that
Does
happen?
Stipe accept fights against guys that aren't title fights?
Yeah.
Do you have
How
any
can you
proof that
beat
he
Stipe
actually
if he
didn't
doesn't fight?
besides Tom Aspinall
Like,
saying, "Oh yeah, some guy told me that Stipe said no." Besides that, do you have any proof that Stipe actually turned down a fight?
I have proof that Stipe doesn't fight.
Okay, so
keep
but
pay
So a
but a
guy
minute
that's
ago,
not showing up and fighting is more valuable and is
so
putting in more work than a guy that's been fighting.
the truth is that when we argue meritocracy, you you don't get your way about it.
then it's, well, 3 years. Tell me his resume in 3 years. The truth is, just like Tom Aspinall,
Seriously defend
everybody
that
that is
Stipe gets
whining,
a shot.
everybody that is
Surely.
whining on his behalf is just whining. The
Yeah,
fight was made when he got his belt. He knew the deal.
yeah,
He
but
knew the deal.
no, I agree 100%.
If you take a job and they're like, listen, we're going to hire you as the manager, but the old manager is going to be here for 12 months. That's
Right.
how it's going to work. We're not going to make you sit here and take half the pay. We're going to give you full scale and we're going to respect you and we're going to let you come in as a manager while this guy ends his career. And then you get the job and start whining that you want his office. You're a whiny bitch.
Joe,
Tom
Joe, let me
Aspinall is a
I would
whiny
want the
bitch.
job. I
Joe,
would
let
want
me
his
ask you a
job if I'm
question.
doing his job better.
Joe, let me ask you a question.
How did he do the job better than John?
Joe, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I'm talking about Stipe.
Do you really believe that someone should have a title shot after getting knocked out 3 years ago?
Yeah, that's how it came down, bro. Like
No. He's asking for your opinion. You think that Stipe should have the title shot?
Make sure y'all use those hands, bro. Y'all are talking over each other and a lot of side chatter going on. Better, you get your hand up. You go ahead and go first.
Yeah, I guess since you're talking about the Stipe fight, man. First off, yeah, bro. Stipe deserves to fight for the title. First off, because of everyone who he's beat. Even though they might, when you look at his resume, you think of these fighters now. He beat them when they were the man, so he beat them in their prime. The Junior Dos Santos, the Alistair Overeem, he beat Fabricio Werdum right after his title run, I believe. Right after, or I think he beat him for the title. I forgot what it was, but he beat Fabricio in his prime. He beat Ngannou when he was at his scariest. And let's not forget what really happened in that fight when he got knocked out. He ran into a punch because he hurt Ngannou. Ngannou, he was actually gonna, if he didn't run into that punch, I guarantee you the fight would have played out just like last time. Because Stipe was the better striker and he was able to out wrestle Ngannou. So just because he got knocked out quick doesn't mean he's just all of a sudden he's past his prime, he's done, he's this old man. He made it very clear after that fight when he got knocked out, he was going to fight for the title. And the UFC was just reluctant to give it to him, and he was going to wait it out until he got the title shot. And that's just what's happening here. It's the greatest heavyweight of all time, which that is Stipe. He is the greatest heavyweight against what people consider the greatest fighter of all time, no matter the weight class, which is Jon Jones. That's the money fight. And that's what they're both waiting on. We all know that once they fight, it's over for them. And Tom Aspinall is going to be the heavyweight champion. So I think like it should. That's a good story to just let play out. They don't need to fight Tom Aspinall. Aspinall is not going to do anything for them because if they beat Aspinall and then they retire, then that kind of just hurts Aspinall when he gets the title back because we all know that's what's going to happen.
Can I jump in? So I'm gonna do away with the who deserves what fighting and the didn't fight for 3 years and all that, and I'm gonna revert back to the same thing I do in every argument. And I want to remind everybody, this is prize fighting. Tom Aspinall can't sell 200,000 pay-per-views without Jon Jones. He can't do it. That's fact. If you build a card strictly around Tom Aspinall, it might sell out the O2, but that's not a million pay-per-views. It's just not. At this point, I don't care about the belt and the this and the number one. I don't care. At this point, Jon Jones gets points and big paychecks. And if you think he's going to fight somebody that isn't going to help him sell a million five, you're out of your fucking mind. You don't understand fighting. Talking to you is fucking pointless. This is prize fighting. The idea that the UFC as a sport is secondary. It is absolutely a secondary idea. All of that happened to get it sanctioned. This is prize fighting at its core. And if you think that Tom Aspinall can bring enough to the table for Jon Jones to fight him, you just don't. It's not about who should get what. Jon Jones is fighting for money. And at this point in his career, if you can't understand that, You have not been watching this long enough. The other thing I want, hey, I'm gonna ask Connor because I got my kids, and on Friday nights I don't have all the resources that you know what I mean. I can't sit out in my spot. Do you remember who fought for the belt after John relinquished it?
Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz.
And do you remember that they weren't actually the number one and number two guys under the champion?
I don't remember the rankings at the time. Do you know who it was?
No, but I actually positively remember that the number one and the number two guy did not get the fight.
Had to be, I'd imagine.
What's that?
Had to have been Glover.
So here's my point. I'm off of the who deserves what because we all have an opinion, and I'll be honest. I'm gonna give you 1 point, Connor. Do I think Stipe should get the John fight? No, I did not. Now that the fight was inked, do I think that the fight should happen? Absolutely. I will never come off of that hill. I don't care what has changed in the meantime. You give someone a deal, you give someone a deal. You be a man, you stand behind it. The deal is the deal. And Tom knew his deal when he got his deal. So that's just how I feel. And whether you disagree or not, it's fine. I understand your point. But here's what I want to say. The reason that Dominic Reyes, you said Dominic Reyes fought Blachowicz to unify that or for the vacant belt?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Iron. I see you over there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I 100% agree with what you're saying, and I think that's maybe where we're going wrong. Disagreeing the opinion and stuff. I'm very much of the opinion of the best should fight the best, and you're right. There's many other factors, whether it's pay per view, pull, all that kind of stuff, legacy. I've come from a background, especially from the UK, of struggling where we're watching a lot of boxing fights, and basically the best avoid the best. It's always been the best avoid the best. They do whatever they can to not fight the best. And what got me into UFC was seeing the best fight the best. And I think that's probably, and obviously there's the British bias because Tom's from near where I'm from, massively biased, that kind of thing. But to me, it was just massively disappointing to not see the best fight the best. I don't believe that Stipe is top three. I don't believe that he should be getting the title shot after getting knocked out 3 years ago. I believe Tom is the number one contender. I believe he should be fighting for the title. I want to see the best fight the best. At the end of the day, I want to see the most competitive fights, and I don't feel like that's what's happening because of other influences, whether it's money influence. As you said, you're right. Stipe versus Jones makes more money. Tosmo probably isn't the biggest draw, other than people obviously within the scene. But I want to see that fight. I want to see the best fight the best, and that is all that matters to me. No other factors whatsoever. I want to see number one against champion, and that's it. And you're 100% right in everything else you say. You're right. Probably Stipe is a bigger fight. He's probably earned it over legacy. But I don't believe that Stipe is. I don't believe Jones is the best in the heavyweight division, and I don't believe that Stipe is even number one contender. But I understand why the fight's being made, but I just want to see the best fight the best. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. That's just not fighting. You want it to be 100% be a sport. Um, but the problem is that everybody wants it to be that until you break that down really. Until you break down really what that is. Like
Well,
everybody wants
I
everybody.
always see the best fight the best. Always. That's the
Okay,
only thing I'm interested in.
and I get it. So then, like, I know too much about boxing. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. So if this was boxing and the Ali Act was infected, which is supposed to protect the best fighters and supposed to protect what they have and what they have coming, at this point, if they booked John versus Tom in a boxing match because Stipe was never linearly beat for his number one contender spot, he would be able to literally make a phone call and say, no, cancel that fight. I want the John fight now. And then that fight would go out the fucking window. It wouldn't matter about unifying the belts. And that's a fact. That fight would go out the fucking window. It would be canceled. And then John would now have to fight Stipe or retire. If you guys want to talk meritocracy is not exactly how the MMA media tries to spin it. Well, number one should fight the champion, and number two should fight number one, and number three should fight number. It doesn't exactly work that way. When you start talking about real meritocracy, you can't just take somebody's ranking because they went inactive. You either have to label them inactive, and if you're saying that after 3 years Stipe should have been labeled inactive, well, then that's another problem with our sport, because I agree with you. But he wasn't. He was still listed as a ranked fighter.
Yeah, no,
You have
I
to,
100% agree with that. But what I'm saying is, I think, and I'm not using boxing as an example because boxing is in the mud and the belts are a joke and all that kind of stuff. And I think Jones versus Stipe was the fight to make. But I think the second that Stipe refused the interim belt and sat out, I think all of a sudden, to me, that means that that's fine, but he fights the winner of the title fight. But the second that he refuses the interim fight between whether it's Aspinall and Pavlovich or whoever,
so how would
I
you
think,
guys feel if he beat Tom and retired? Because Stipe's made it very clear, even when he didn't know he was fighting Jon Jones, Stipe's made it very clear he has one more fight in him. That's it.
yeah,
That's all he's
yeah,
got.
I've
So if
got
he
no
beats
problem.
Tom and then
Yeah,
retires with the belt, the whole division is destroyed. Because not only do you guys not deserve to fight Jon Jones, and not only were none of you ever good enough to beat Jon Jones, you couldn't even fucking beat old washed up Stipe.
but do you know what?
Like,
I'd sleep easy knowing that the best fought the best. That's all I want to see is the best fight the best. That's it.
Connor's had his hand up forever. Connor, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm pretty much agreeing with Iron on everything he's saying. One thing that I think this boils down to, and this is something that he said, and this is something that I've thought of pretty much ever since this whole dilemma's been brought up, is the whole interim title thing. And I know Joe and I, we don't agree on this, but this is not really a problem between Tom, Stipe, and John. It's a problem between Tom and the UFC. Because when they put that interim title
100%.
on there, right. So John doesn't need to care about what Tom says, and neither does Stipe. But if Tom thinks that he should unify when John gets back, that's a problem with him in the UFC, and that's ultimately, I'm saying that John is ducking Tom,
Well,
and that's something that. Go
and
ahead.
I'm agreeing with you 100%. I am
Okay.
Connor. I 100% agree with you. Here's the
Right.
flip side to that. We have recently heard Bilal Muhammad. Let's go a little further back than that. We have recently heard Colby Covington say, "I was promised the next title shot," and then he got it. We were recently heard Bilal Muhammad say, "I was promised the next title shot," and it looks like he's going to get it.
Yeah, but
Hamzat
those.
Chimaev, hold on. Hamzat
Yeah.
Chimaev
Yeah.
is right now complaining, "I was promised the next title shot." How come Tom Aspinall can never say to anybody, "I was told I will get to fight them"? Because he wasn't. He was never even led to believe he would. It's not really a dilemma. Tom took a deal and now he wants more. He's greedy. It's not in
It's
my
what that deal. It's what that deal means, though.
it
When
means
people, and
nothing.
I know that you and I are gonna bring up our examples and whatnot, but and he thinks as well, or else he wouldn't be arguing this hard about it, that when the champion comes back, you unify the belts. There's no point
Actually, the
having two
last thing that
champions
he
right
said
now
was actually, you guys know that he's like willing to fight AP at 300 now, right? He's not even talking about fighting John anymore.
because I know, but
I
he's
played it
wasting
in
his
his
breath
face the other.
complaining.
Yeah, like he's already moved on. He's already
Oh,
yeah.
I don't have to move on though. I'll argue on his behalf.
I
But one thing,
understand.
wait, one thing that I also and I'll let this go after this, because you're bringing up the Bilal and Colby and Hamzat, and I like to argue on this on a case by case basis. For one, you all know my stance. I don't think Colby deserved that title shot, so him getting promised a shot doesn't mean jack shit to me because he shouldn't have gotten it in the first place. And then Bilal does, so if they promise him that, good on him. Hamza shouldn't be anywhere near a title shot, so him getting promised and whatnot. Like Dana will say one thing and do another thing. So a promise by Dana doesn't mean really anything unless he
I'm
comes
gonna
through with
straight to
it.
say that, but the two examples that have been possible out of the three that you've given are happening. So it sounds like when Dana's making that promise, it's coming through, and Tom don't have that promise.
So everything that Dana says comes true.
That's not what I said. What I
I
said
know,
is the
but what I'm
examples.
saying is like
No,
just
what
because
you
Dana
want to
says it
do,
doesn't mean that's going to
we
happen. Though.
literally use some recent examples, and now that they didn't go your way, now you want to broadenize it and say, so everything Dana says. Now I'm not gonna argue those arguments, bro. We use some examples. 2 out of 3 have already had the opportunity to happen, and they have happened. And Hamzat said he gets that title shot for the next fight at 185, and that fight hasn't happened yet, so we don't know. So in
Neither
in the
has the
examples
Bilal.
that
Neither
we
has
are
the Bilal and
using,
Leon fight. But
that's
Bilal should get it.
Bilal's in camp. Leon's in camp. Leon told a
That's
stadium full
fair.
of people he's
That's fair.
fighting. Like I'm gonna say they're fighting. They just don't know which
That's
card
fair.
they're on.
All in
But
all, though, Joe, and I'll let
so
this go. Final thing. Final thing. You and I, we agree in reality, so I'm cool with that.
so the thing I was bringing up, and then I didn't want to just completely derail it, was when Reyes fought Blachowicz. It was Glover after that. I believe. Man, I can't recall all that shit. I don't. I've been watching them for so long. I just can't always fucking recall it. But the foot to stand on was that some people thought Dominic Reyes had beat Jones, and Jones had. So Reyes was 1, is what it was, and then Jan was not number 2. That's what it was. And people were bitching about, Jan shouldn't have been the guy to fight for the vacated belt or whatever. But what was important to the UFC was that the perception could have been bent that Reyes beat John. And what I mean by perception is in the promos, they could have taken sneak jabs and sneak disses. And then, give me 1 second. So they could have, did things, arguably beat the greatest of all time. And, they could have spun it that way. And Jan never lost to John. It was very important for Dana when things leave that you don't leave this division in a manner that you did when you got stripped. You had already beat everybody. There was nobody left. There was nobody. We couldn't sell DC as the GOAT. We couldn't sell him as the GOAT because you had already fucking beat him up. We couldn't do it. So it's a problem for the UFC. And that's the easy example for me to use because my mind's so on like John Jones and all this shit right now. But there really are. I know there's other examples where you can find like how guys got like their interim belts, or how when belts were vacated, the guys that fought for them had not lost to the guy with the strap. And the UFC does that very strategically to basically allows the lineage of the belt to restart, and it prevents the degrading of their champions. It's very, very important. Like, what I understand as a guy who feels like I understand Dana White to his core. That's the one thing I've said since these spaces starts. If I don't understand anything, I understand how Dana White works. And in my heart, in what I understand and everything I know, is it is worth more for Dana for Tom to have not lost to John than it is to sell the card with John and Tom on it. Even if it sells, we don't have to argue about what it sells. We don't have to argue about any of that. It is more important to him that Tom does not have that L to John when John exits. Because just like, I'll give you a great example, and I know boxing's shitty to pull from. You know why Canelo Alvarez isn't the GOAT? Do you know why? Because he lost to Floyd Mayweather. And that's the only fucking reason. You can't argue it. You can't. No matter what you do, he's always got that L to the guy that is the GOAT. Even if you don't think Floyd is the GOAT, when it comes to the actual argument, the actual facts, Floyd beat him. So if Floyd ain't the GOAT, Canelo surely the fuck ain't the GOAT. It's the same idea. And Dana comes from a boxing background. And it's the very same thought. So, like, I really feel like Dana is not letting Tom fight John, whether Tom likes it or not. I could be wrong. Dana's done some shit. I'm not like, I don't know every move he makes, but, I've been on the mic forever, so why be?
I mean, you've made about every good point you could make, honestly, at this point. I was just gonna say, let's say the UFC is an office, right? And Stipe and John have worked for a really long time for this boss, Dana. And they're they have really good standings. There've been problems here and there. You know, Stipe had the problem he had to lay out for a while. But if Dana's a good boss of the office, you don't give the promotion to the guy that thinks he's Billy Badass this younger and has his turn. Like, he can wait. It's not going to kill him to wait a year. It's just not. If we're like, it's just not how it works. At an even normal job, most of the time, the guy that has more time and a better standing with the boss, that's who gets it. So Tom can honestly eat ass.
Well, I mean, and it's like, you know, bro, the sport is being an individual sport poses so many different problems than any job or any other sport in relevance to, like, John Jones was stripped of his belt. Stripped of his fucking belt, lost money, millions. John gets fucking paid. I don't know what you guys know, but I know John gets fucking paid. Lost millions of dollars, lost years, which in this game and in sport, we know how important that is. And then they were like, you know what? We were wrong and we're going to change the rule. It sucks. It sucks. An individual sport sucks. Tom Aspinall, maybe, I'm not saying he is or he isn't. Tom Aspinall might be at his peak. This may be the best, the greatest Tom Aspinall we'll ever see. And it may be the greatest John Jones we'll ever see. I mean, he fucking finished the real gone, right? But if the longevity is that John is fading within the next year or two, and so is and Tom may or may not or whatever, we're not going to see it in time. We're not going to see it when you want to see it, man. It is everything that goes along with actual look somebody in the eyes, make an agreement with them. Dana White, everybody hates Dana White in the media, but you've never heard one of his employees say that Dana White didn't do them right. There's not a bunch of, even in this antitrust, Dana White don't have a bunch of people saying he treated them wrong. They're being sued for what the other people in the company did. So, like, Dana made that agreement. It may suck, but he made the agreement. There's just
I
no way.
agree with that. Like, exactly what I was saying, bro. He's like a boss. It's not just, just the fighting. There's a lot behind it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think Iron set his hand up and we get babbling. Iron, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I 100% agree with what you're saying, Joe, and you, YB, as well. Totally understand it and get it. And just agree in general in terms of promoting sport, all that kind of stuff, and the agreement is already made. I think, obviously, from my point of view, me personally, obviously I'm biased because I'm British and you want your British fighters to do well and get the opportunities and all that kind of stuff, understandably. I completely understand why the
Hello?
decision have been made. Sorry, go on, fella. Sorry, go on, Andrew.
Connor J, go ahead. I don't know what happened to him. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, can I just finish my point?
Oh, yeah, I thought you were cutting out, bro. I didn't know what happened. My bad,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, it's only someone joined. Yeah, no, I completely agree with what you're saying, Joe. Completely agree with what you're saying, YB. And like I said, obviously, from my point of view, biased because obviously I've met Tom, I know Tom, and I want the best for him, and I want the best to fight the best. Totally understand everything about it, and I understand why Jones doesn't want to fight him. Totally get it. But I want to see, as I've said a million times before, the best fight the best. However, I do understand it. It's in the day, it's a money sport, and probably Aspinall maybe isn't the biggest draw, whereas Stipe versus Jones is the biggest draw. Totally understand it, totally get it. But my biggest fear is I don't want the UFC to turn into boxing. I don't want it to get to a point where they're making fights out of, if you're going to make a fight, it should never be about what makes the most money. It should be about legacy. It should be about the best fighting the best, in my opinion, personally. It should always be. And that's what it always has been in the past. It's been the UFC is the best fight the best. If you look at every other division, obviously you get, the occasional enigma, McGregor, all that kind of stuff, fast track, that kind of stuff. But I just think in general, the best should should always fight the best, and that's always been our biggest concern. But I totally agree. I 100% agree with what you're saying, Joe, and you, YB, as well. 100% agree.
So the other thing that nobody really wants to talk about is, especially guys like me, right? So here's the truth of it. People are saying Jon is ducking Tom. I'm going to give you a little validity. I'm going to give old Connor J a little validity.
He's not ducking Tommy. He's ducking, putting his
No.
legacy under threat. That's what he's ducking.
It's not putting it under threat that he's worried about. I really, because he was going to fight Francis. And if you guys think that Tom is scarier than Francis, like, come on, just fucking get real. Like, stop being a mark. You know what I mean? Like, just no fucking way. The scariest guy ever in the fucking heavyweight division is fucking Francis Ngannou's punching power, right? So, like, and everybody knows it. And he's fucking crazy fast and all that shit. So, he came up to fight Francis. The difference is the payday. And I'm not talking about prize fighting. If you're a Jon Jones mark like I am, you see all his tweets, you see all his little videos, you'll listen to everything he says. And what I believe that Jon is saying indirectly is, if you beat me, I make your career. I change your life. If I beat you, it's not even a big deal. So many people have lost to me, and I'm considered so great that in the long term of your career, it's Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. People won't even care that you lost to me. People don't care that Canelo lost
Yeah,
to
see,
me.
Joe, I disagree personally, but I see what you're saying.
So, but Tom Aspinall knocks out Jon Jones. He becomes one of the GOATs. He becomes a legend. If Jon Jones finishes Tom Aspinall, it is no different than Surreal Gone.
But
It
Joe,
is.
what happens if
It's no different than when he beat DC. It's
what happens if
smaller. It's
goes on
smaller
speed?
than when he beat DC. It's way smaller
But what
than when he
happens
beat
if
DC.
goes on speed to go?
So, but my point is, like, so we know that these guys aren't paid $100 million. Like, I mean, I know Jon is getting dough, but like, they're not paid $100 million. And I think for Jon, and the reason I say it the way I do, like, this is prize fighting. What can you bring? Is for Jon, it's what will you pay me for the opportunity now? And not like he's saying that directly or meaning it intentionally to the fighter, but for Jon Jones, there has to come a point of, well, I know what my risk is. My risk is retiring as the greatest fighter of all time.
Do you know
Could go away. It could
Phoebe?
disappear. And
Phoebe.
your career, your pay just quadrupled, if not went up by 10. You took the fight with me for $500,000 and you're getting $5 million every fight after this.
But what if future generation though?
Yeah, I change everything for you. So in return, what do I get? Tom can't even sell it, man. Tom can't even get Jon Jones to 1 million pay-per-views. What do you have to offer? Like, it's not about everybody can be like, oh, he's got the interim, and get over it. Get over that bullshit. Jon Jones,
the future generation. What if he beats him? That's it.
This isn't WWE. You don't put him over. This isn't the Undertaker putting Brock over. This is not the WWE. You are not obligated to fight the youth and fight these guys until you lose to put these guys over.
In that case, you shouldn't be champion then.
In that case, you retire champion like Khabib did if you can. Like GSP did if you can.
You're not willing to fight the contenders, you shouldn't be champion.
It's who says he's not willing to fight the contenders? He came in, he fought Surreal Gone, he got a contract on Stipe. He wants that fight. If he retires after that, that's not ducking Tom. That's his career. Tom does not offer anything. You guys are like, he's got the belt. Bro, the belts are fucking trophies. The belts don't mean anything.
If he went fight the number one contender, he shouldn't be champion. That's it. It's that simple.
Okay. Well.
But see, what you have to realize is not only is in the bigger scope is this whole thing a business, but as Joe is saying, each of these individuals are businesses as well. So it's like You got to realize, dude, these guys are here to protect their business. It's their
John
business.
Jones don't
You
give a
can
fuck
give
about
your
the UFC's
opinion
future,
on
bro.
Oh
you
yeah,
can give your opinion on their business, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's not your business. If you want to run a business yourself, go ahead and run a business yourself.
yeah.
But to
No,
tell
I
another
think I'm,
businessman how to run his
I'm,
business is wild.
I 100% agree, 100%. However, I think if you're the champion, you've got to fight number one contender. If you're not willing to do it, you've got to vacate the belt. It's that simple.
Actually, if you're the champion, you only have to defend it once per year. And then if you get injured, they can opt, which they do not always, to instate an interim belt. And then in some cases, Connor Jay's point, when the champion returns, he unifies it. In other cases, when the champion returns, he fights Brock Lesnar because he's worth way more fucking money. And nobody had a problem with that. Everybody's mad. John wants to fight Stipe because John's going to make literally 10 million plus to fight Stipe.
Why do you care about the money?
Bro, why should he care about the UFC's meritocracy and rankings?
No, but I'm
Why
asking
should
you,
John
why do
Jones
you care about the
give a
money?
flying fuck about any of that?
No, Joe, he's
I'm
asking you.
Asking
Why
you,
do
why
you
do you
care
care
about
about the money?
because that's how it really works, brother.
Bro, that's
I'm
life.
asking you.
Yeah, like that's just that at the end of the day, that's how it works. And when I say it, I mean everything.
I'm
That
not
is
about
how it works.
personally. Why do you care about the money?
Do you mean why do I care about the money John Jones gets?
No, I'm saying, do you not? Surely you would rather see the best fight the best over the money. Why do you care about it? You don't see the money, so why do you care?
No, bro. Anybody in here can tell you I'm a real prize fighter fan, bro. This is prize fighting.
So you'd rather see a money fight over a competitive fight?
Yeah. Bro,
Well,
the most competitive
why
fight,
we did.
like
That's why we.
listen, if you want to see a competitive fight, the John Jones versus Tom Aspinall is not going to be competitive. John is either going to do to him what he did to Surreal God, or Tom is going to knock him out. That's not competitive. You want to see competitive? Go watch Tough. Go watch them guys beat the fuck out of each other trying to get a contract.
You'd rather see
That's
him
competitive, bro.
rather than
That's
top.
competitive. I want to see the biggest spec. I want to see the guy that I watched defend the heavyweight belt more than anybody fight
All
the
right.
greatest fighter of all time. That's who I am.
That's where we differ. Then that's where we
So,
differ.
okay, we've been on this subject for like an hour and it's been the same three people. Let's get Rob on the mic.
Oh, I don't know if you want to do that. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks you for having me. Welcome. I see when I'm like a guest, I don't know how to be a guest. What's up, Joe? What's up, Andrew? What's up, everybody? Man, I will say this. I want to just stand right behind Joe or wherever he needs support in this assault of this conversation, man. I don't see how there's any okay, I get if you're upset with the timetable, but everything about this matches what you've been watching this whole time. Jon Jones, does he get special treatment? Yup. Do they move whole venues overnight the week of? Excuse me. Yup. Like, this doesn't even have anything to do with like legal proceedings or possible PEDs. This is a genuine fight injury. If you don't think he's going to get all the time he needs for the UFC to squeeze the juice out of the two most decorated heavyweights, I hate to say it just like that, because, well, Stipe is obviously perennially has the resume, and right now, like it or not, Jon Jones is eating up the division. His star power takes over every space he consumes. The last part of this is, once again, do not forget the money. The UFC is in big debt. Do not confuse yourselves with this. The UFC also only has two guaranteed real money makers in the fight game. That is Conor McGregor and Jon Jones. All right. These things cannot be disputed. They cannot be ignored. With that all being said, also look at the demographic. I know all the people who are advocating for Tom Aspinall to fight Mr. Jones are the same ones not paying for the fucking pay-per-view. All right. At the end of the day, Stipe and Jones reaches a demographic of fans that are actually going to fucking purchase the stupid pay-per-view. This is all that it
And that's
points
from
to.
a guy who runs a streaming service.
Thank you. Thank you. That is what it is. So the fact of the matter is that is the business. That is the only thing that matters. And last but not least, in a much mired division, in a division full of vacancies, title drops, PEDs, motorcycle accidents, and you name it, they have a moment in time to define a division goat, whatever the fuck that word means in this era that everybody likes to say. I don't like it, neither do you. But at the end of the day, there's going to be someone that they're going to crown the jewel, the man of the division, forever and all time. Hold your peace. That's what's going to happen. Mr. Aspinall, young, talented. Yeah, he's a threat. All that. Okay, cool. But you do not get any privilege with a interim belt against men who put in over 10 years at the top of the decade, hold multiple belts, multiple defenses. You are fucking nobody. Nobody. And therefore you will wait. And there you go. And that's the bottom line.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Because Jay Speck said so. Connor, I don't know who was first. Iron, I don't know. Between the two of you, whoever's next, just
It was
you guys
Connor.
will know.
Yeah, Connor's first.
Yeah, I disagree. I want to touch on something that Iron said that I agree with. I don't argue on the UFC's behalf on making fights. Like this fight will make it'll get a lot of pay-per-views, so this is gonna make the most money. I don't see any of that money. So if I don't think that's a good fight, or if it's not a fight that I want to see, I'm not gonna argue for the UFC to make that fight. That doesn't make any sense. I don't want to see that fight, and I'm a fan, and I pay for pay-per-views. So I'm
So
not
you don't
arguing.
want to see Tom fight John because you like Tom? Like you
No, no,
don't
no.
care about
Wait.
Tom?
I'm sorry. Wait. Repeat your question, Joe.
So you don't want to see. So you have no moral compass in this. You don't care about Tom as a person. You just think he's the guy that should fight for the belt.
I have a somewhat moral compass in the sense that I like
Well,
seeing
don't you want
guys
him to
get.
get? Don't you
Let
want
me
them all to
here.
get the most money they can?
Okay, but like the whole money thing. What do you mean? Because Tom's missing out on money with the Jon Jones fight.
But John would
So,
be missing out on money to take the Tom fight when Tom
okay, but
has a belt and could go get paid more money than he's ever made to fight anybody. That's
you're
not
telling
even Jon
Tom to
Jones.
go on some side quests while he could be fighting John. Here, let me say this real quick, though. Let me say this real quick.
Tom was never in the mix for a fight. Tom was
Yes,
never like
well, hey, guess what though? He's in the mix now, though. He's in the mix
if this
now.
situation was he was scheduled to fight either of these gentlemen,
Rob,
that makes sense. But he's not. He never was. He's the third man out. This is an AB conversation. See your way out the door.
Rob,
I'm telling you, man, this is what happens when we fucking make these interim titles, man. They're bullshit.
Can I say? Let me just like finish my point real quick.
Let Connor say his piece.
People keep bringing up like the money thing. While John and Stipe have been champions and getting pay-per-view points and money, championship money, for a while now. So Tom is going to be missing out on a Jon Jones fight, and we're saying like, oh, but what about the money that John and Stipe are missing out on? Well, they've been getting championship fights and championship money. And if you guys don't think that there's a fighter pay issue, then you shouldn't have no problem with them
No,
not
see,
getting
so
it
you're
because they've
arguing
been getting
one guy
paid.
getting paid more over two guys. You're arguing that Tom is more important than both of them. That's not
Okay,
right.
but listen, Joe.
So if it benefits two people more over there, then he should go fight somebody else and still make more money than he ever has.
No. Okay, let me get back to this moral thing that you said. Because
wait, I just want to can I just throw something out there before you say your moral thing and how it does spill to regular people. I don't currently, but I once did date Huda Girl. And the UFC, back then the UFC was the sponsored dudes of the Space Watch Party, blah 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 blah. Anyways, point is the amount of money my girl would make on a Jon Jones fight because of attendance versus somebody else is very real. So in my town, I don't know how it is in everybody, but if if you live in a place affected by tourism and or whatever, you can actually feel the John Jones effect in your life. Tom Aspinall makes $0 for anybody I know anywhere.
How much money does Stipe make?
I mean, like, you want the actual figure?
No, because what I'm saying. Wait, here. Hold up. Let me wrap up a couple points.
I will not interrupt you, Connor. Go ahead.
The moral thing that you brought up. I like seeing guys get rewarded for fighting and going on win streaks and fighting contenders and whatnot. That's why I'm an advocate for Bilal Muhammad getting his title shot. There's other examples as well, but Tom, I'm arguing for him right now. I want him because he's been fighting, and Stipe has not been fighting. Nobody told Stipe not to fight. It's been almost 4 years. He could have fought one fight and had, a way better case. Also, Andrew said he said something about the interim title thing, which is a fact. This problem is being brought up mainly because the UFC wanted another title fight on that card when Jon Jones pulled out because of injury, and now they had to put an interim title. So they created a problem, and that's why this is a huge problem, really. If it was just Sergey and Tom fighting, no interim title on the line, people would not be arguing on his behalf like this.
So,
But
but
they made their bed, so they got to sleep in it.
but they don't. So, like, here's what
That okay, but that's what the
I
fans
understand.
think.
Oh, but Connor,
That's
I
what
understand what you're
I
saying.
think that
But
though.
that is, and I agree with you that based on the ranking meritocracy, I understand how you feel.
And I don't,
But
like I
based
said,
on the
I don't
moral
argue for the
compass,
UFC. I'm never gonna argue that whatever makes them the most money, because why do that if I don't actually like the fight? You know what I'm saying? So like when
but what
Andrew
I'm
says like
saying
this is a
is,
business, I understand it's a business. I've been watching the sport for a long time. I get it's a business, but I'm not employed by the UFC or Dana, so why am I arguing for them?
but by the moral thing, saying that Tom is missing out on an opportunity, that's not correct. So what is correct morally is to consider everybody. And the most money involved for everybody is the fact that Tom was given a belt that allows him to make more money than he's ever made in his life just by getting champion pay, even with no points. Even with no points, Tom gets more money than he's ever made in his life. So that's an up for him. Jon and Stipe will still likely make the most money they have ever made in their careers from this fight. To say that Tom is missing out, so one of them have to lose out even more, like, that's not the moral way to do it. The moral way to
But
do
Tom
it,
is missing out now. Tom is missing
but
out.
he's
So it's
not.
the
Tom
same
gets to go
problem.
make more money than he's ever made because that's the deal they gave him. By saying that
He's not
Tom,
fighting though, Joe. He's not fighting. What are you
he can
talking
fight
about? He's
right
not
now.
fighting in between.
He
Who's
can
he
go get a
fighting?
fight right now.
But he's
Against who?
choosing not to. He's choosing
Against
not to
who can he fight?
by not
Don't
by
say
not
say
taking a
someone other
fight.
than AP. Say someone other than AP.
He can
Listen,
call out any contender he wants right now and get that fight. They
Who?
will all fight
Name
him for that
them.
interim belt. All of them.
A lot
All
of
of
he
these dudes are already lined
yeah,
up
but
for
he's not.
fights. Who can he
Why would?
fight?
Okay, listen.
That's not
You
John's
guys,
problem. John's already booked to fight,
I'm
bro.
not saying it's
Tom.
John's problem. I'm saying it's the UFC's fault for making this a problem. And
Okay,
I
wait.
think,
We
for one,
gotta.
I don't think Stipe should have had the title fight in the first place. So I don't agree with them giving it to him. And now they made the interim title. So I double disagree with it.
Okay, well,
So
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go
gonna
all the way
just
back to
change
the
my
start.
mind because they had that fight originally.
You got to go back to the start of this problem, like you guys are pointing out, okay? And I got to just call big time bullshit because everybody was into that fight when it was happening before the injury happened. That's why it was the
Fight.
most expensive.
Which
That was
fight?
why it was the most expensive seats they ever sold to a live venue in the history of their
Yeah,
company.
because part of the reason
Per
that's because it
seat,
was at Madison Square Garden.
because it was Jon effing Jones for all the marbles in the heavyweight division. All right, there's a thing in prize fighting you got to understand. It trickles down from boxing. As the heavyweight goes, everything does. So if the pay-per-view does well, they sell well. Listen, they had a whole MSG sold out at the most expensive prices they ever did. They had to do damage control and they threw up that belt. Yeah, it happened. Whatever. Okay, but at the end of the day, the fight was going to happen between those two guys. Last but not least, take fucking credit for what Aspinall is doing himself. Everybody's acting like he's a fucking victim. By him sitting down, listen, children, you got to play the long game. Don't get short-sighted. If he doesn't take the fight, guess what he gets to do? Small brains. He
He's
gets to
taking the
fight for the fucking
he's
vacant.
taking the
He gets
Stipe
to
route right
fight.
now.
He gets to fight for the vacant world title no matter who holds it. He gets all the cookies by just sitting the fuck down and not fighting anybody. So it's not a matter of him. He can't get a fight. Bro, man ain't gonna take no fight. Get real. And he's barking to keep his name in the headlines. You guys got to look through the smoke, man. This is a fucking production. The fight game, 30 years I've been watching it. Look through the smoke, people. Look through the smoke. Follow the
I just
cash.
the thing that bothers me is like you guys keep talking about how you feel and like what your opinion is, and it's like, dude, the world doesn't care how you feel. Like, life isn't fair. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to understand that. Like, there are rules to life that you just got to understand as life goes. I mean, it is what it is, bro. You got to accept it. You can have your opinions and you can say you dislike it, and you can live in this fantasy land where everything is right and there's no wrongdoing. You can live in that land, but this isn't reality, bro.
So all right, we've been on this one for so long. Trace probably quit the space already. He ain't even here. I have one more thing that kind of transitions off of this, what we've been talking about. So I'm just going to try to transition out of this because we have all said the same thing 8 times. Like, I love us all, but we're saying the
I
same.
was gonna try to transition out too. Thank you. It's been like an
So
hour, bro.
sincere, real talk. I'm not a guy that's into bagging fighters or the fight game or the UFC in any way. You guys know me. Full mark, right? No fucks given. So 2 questions. It's a double question, but it's one question. The big divisions are heavyweight and bantamweight for women. The divisions are so shallow. Do you guys, A, which is the worst division? B, do we really think that the women's bantamweight division is the best, has the best 135ers in the world right now? And how strong, like how many heavyweights outside of the UFC could rank into the top 10 right now? I know of, man, I'd have to go get their names, but I've looked at this before and I know there's a couple guys in one that could probably swing in the top 10 in the UFC. And there are some guys that
So the
maybe.
top five of the heavyweight division, I would say, are pretty elite fighters in the world. I would say those are your best 5 heavyweights. Outside of the top 5, I totally agree with you, Joe. I think the rest of that division sucks. But it is the heavyweight division. It's not going anywhere. I mean, you just got to do your best to make it happen. The women's 135. Look, I've never been the guy to shit on a whole division. That's not usually my style, but that's a really shallow, bad division, and it's starving for someone right now.
Bro, I
So,
just realized Chelsea Chandler is in the top 15.
oh my god, dude, I don't even think she's ever fought at 135.
Bro, she's in
Like,
the top
that's the crazy part
15.
is you have like 3 fighters in the women's bantamweight division that are ranked that have never once fought at 135 pounds. Like, riddle me that shit.
Yeah, I can't figure
That
it
is
out for
so
the life of me.
bad.
And like, I'm not going back to the John Jones, Tom Aspinall thing, right? But like, because this was not lead from one to make my point, but like, I just realized, like, bro, that's kind of along with what I said. Why would they risk Tom losing to John? Tom, listen, Tom is a talent, okay? And if I'm being honest, they've got Pav, Tom, Gon, and I know there's another guy I'm not thinking of in the top 10 right now that are very talented. Oh, Almeida, that are very talented. The future of big men in
Yeah.
MMA. And they're going
Now
to
name
fight
the
each
future of
other.
the women's 135 right now.
But what I'm saying is they're going to fight each other for at least 5 or 6 years to come.
These
Sure.
guys are going to fight around each other. They will literally carry the UFC's baddest man on the planet division. I don't see how the UFC could really risk any of them losing to Jon and demoralizing any of that. And like 135 women's, bro, I don't even feel like they necessarily. I want to say I don't feel like they have the best women on the planet right now with Amanda retired, but the truth is, I couldn't go list a whole bunch of 135ers that could come in and beat them all. So, like, God, maybe that's really just the state of 135. Rob, I don't know who was first. If it was Iron, let him go. I don't look down, bro. I just try to throw it out there. Rob, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So I'll try to go backwards as I remember it. The 135 problem. Well, yeah, you're right. It's short in talent, but not short in really, really epic fights that are very signable. Right? We have the looming shadow of the lioness. Right? We got Cyborg talking every which way. I don't know if she's a free agent, but I think she only got like maybe one more fight or something like that. Um, the the fact that Kayla's there does add to the mix. Can't deny it. Here's the other part. The other lady, not at that weight, she was actually a weight higher at 145. Larissa Pacheco. Yo, if the
Oh, I
MMA
knew you
world
were going to
sleep,
say her name 10
I'm
words
gonna
ago.
say yeah, I'm gonna say her name because she knocks women out. She finishes ladies, and as she made to 45, she looked good. I'm a believe in these athletes. That the entire, by the way, PFL scrapped their entire 145. Now I know that it's not talent rich per se, but Pacheco and whatever else who you might like from there, pick your poison. That all of those women are now available to bolster, probably at pretty cheap prices, because there's no division once again for them. That to come to the UFC and mess around, liven up the division a little bit. All right, going up to heavyweights. Yo, the heavyweights, exactly like you said, Joe, in the cycle of business of fighting, the production of fighting, you have classes, generations, and it would serve no purpose to poison the fresh crop with the outgoing batch. And that's exactly what it is. You got to squeeze those last batch of lemons and stuff before this new crop. Because, like you said, you got a four-way, the also look at the magic of prize fighting, any weight in any combat sport. Anytime you get four dudes, men or women, that are capable around each other, you then have a golden era with a lot of pay-per-view sales, and that's the whole thing to it. So it looks good over there. Unfortunately, the young men just gonna have to figure it out. Wait one more year. Sorry, tough cookies, not so much. And yeah, there you go. Like the heavyweight. Oh, the outside of the heavyweights. Could there be an import? It's pretty slim pickings, but there's a few. You got to be honest with yourself. I don't know how far up the rankings you're trying to fill, but I think those rankings, just like I support what Andrew said, outside of the top five, they're very uncertain. It's like click, click, bang, bang. They all take each other out because that's the magic of heavyweights. To say who? Well, I will throw out a name that is probably not going to get that much love, but he's legitimate and he's massive. He's under contract, so you can't sign him. The PFL heavyweight, all right, Ferreira, he's huge. Bader, like it or not, Bader could beat some of the dudes in the top 15. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh
But
God.
okay, so is
Like, like
that
He could.
example, Rob? I'm not cutting you off. I'm gonna throw it right back to you. But isn't the Bader example a Max Holloway example in the sense that you could come back to the UFC now and you might. I mean, I don't think he could beat Tom, but let's just say he could squeak it out, right? Like, I'm trying to give him the benefit. I don't think he could beat Tom.
that's
Okay.
crazy. Yeah.
But the division is so shallow and the talent is so weak now, you could come back in because all the guys that you couldn't beat left. Just like, and I'm not being mean, that's how Max got the belt. Max got the belt after all the guys he couldn't beat at 145 went up to 155. That's what happened. I'm not being mean.
True. True.
Okay.
It's what
And
happened. So like, isn't that
I'll
kind
go
of the
throw
same
out
thing?
one. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, he's an undersized guy that's coming up, but he's because the talent is so short. Listen, like it's hard. It's always been hard for heavyweight to fill up its ranks because science keeps fucking stealing them to light heavyweight. Look at time. Like there wasn't that many athletes that could do it. Then when it is, all of a sudden, all the light heavyweights are giants. Like all the light heavyweights are former heavyweight size. Like get real with yourself.
They all are
So
all skinny guys that look like John Jones. We have to mimic that. Bring all them guys down here now.
they're all humongous, bro. Vitor Petrino's humongous. All those dudes are humongous. Like they're just all big giant dudes. So
Oh,
with
I
that being
forgot
said,
about Petrino, bro. He'll be the fifth, bro. He'll fill out that top five with them other four dudes I mentioned earlier. Petrino
if
is
we if we get to if I'm getting to import from anywhere in combat sports, the only real heavyweight that's out there who's actually a threat that could be in the top, okay, beat the top 10. And I honestly think in a couple matches, if given the proper matches, just like Alex Pereira did, his name is Rico Verhoeven, the king of kickboxing. If that man came across, he would own dudes, own them. That's it. That's what I got.
Iron Fred, go ahead, bro.
Oh, thank you. It's only been 15 minutes. No, I'm joking. Just to finish on the last subjects, and I won't go on about.
No, I'm not trying to be rude. We are done with the last subject.
Yeah,
We
no,
were
no,
on
no.
that for like an hour. We're done.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's what's
we're
just.
moving on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just to finish, I think the biggest difference between me and all you guys, and this is clear between every different division, all that kind of stuff, is obviously you guys are taking into account pay-per-views, money, what makes most revenue, all that kind of stuff. The only thing I'm interested in purely is fighting. That's it. I don't give a shit about anything else. Don't give a shit about pay-per-views. Don't give a shit about money. Don't give
So
a
then
shit
you
about
watch
rankings.
every prelim, like curtain jerker, like you watch every single fight, or you just watch the main card, or what? Like
Yeah, well, I watch it. I'm from the UK, so I have to, if I'm going to watch something, I have to stay up all night. So I see the early fights at a half decent time for me. But my point was, for me, it's not about money. It's not about revenue. It's not about anything else. It's just purely about competitive sport. I see it purely as a sport, purely as a fight sport, and the only thing I care about. And I do understand the rest of it, and it's important. And you're not going to make fights unless you have things like the draw for it, all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, the only thing I care about is the fight. That is purely it. Whereas it's quite evident, obviously, for some other guys here, it's not about that. It's about what makes most money. It's about pay-per-views. But for me personally, it's just purely about the competitive sport fight aspect of it. That was all I wanted to say. Not just limits heavyweight. You know, every division. All I care about is the sport. That's it.
All right. Does anyone have an opinion on the subject we are on currently?
Yeah, don't let we're not going back. Just
No, I was saying
no. We're not dogging you. We
yeah,
know
no,
about rabbit holes around here.
every to be fair, I was for like 15 minutes, so that was all I wanted to say.
I know. I'm not mad at you, bro. So I think bro, I think 135 is a throwaway division right now. I mean, I don't think they will, but I just don't see it. And like, here's the problem. Even if you could, sometimes divisions in the history in the past maybe weren't that deep in talent, but
Can
they
I have
had some
your opinion on
personality.
missing weight?
On the what?
On missing weight. So obviously, at the moment, if you miss weight, you get docked as it 30% of your wages. Me personally, I think that's not enough. I think there's two different things. There's failing to make weight, which is within maybe £2, but there's also missing weight, which is like 3, 4, £5. Do you think they need, in my opinion, needs to do something to tackle that?
The problem is if they take any more, the fights will just get canceled, and the UFC knows that. If you
Is
take half of
is
somebody's
that a bad
money,
thing? Is
they're
that a
not
bad
going to
thing?
fight. If you tell someone, "Yo, we're going to give you 20 grand to fight," and then they miss weight, and we're like, "Well, we'll give you 10, or you can get another fight later because we have to give you another fight because we gave you a contract." They're just not going to take the fight. I think
Joe.
that's the biggest problem. Is that what he's asking, or did I not get that right?
Yeah, no, that's right. But the more people they penalise, the less it'll happen.
I get what you're saying there, Fred. I get what you're saying.
So basically, that's
You're a fight disciple.
So if you miss weight, it's by 1 or 2 pounds. If you fail to make weight, you could be by maybe 4 or 5 pounds. Obviously, it's a huge
Fair,
advantage if you come in.
So okay, so here's
failing to wait, mate. Failing to
no,
make weight.
there's a problem there. So, and listen, I'm gonna get to flip some things on some people right now, and I'm not trying to. So, because the UFC is a sport, like everybody that doesn't agree with me wants it to be, Tom versus Jon, right? Because it's a sport, certain things cannot be regulated within. Weight cuts, weight misses, weight fines, policies, depending on if you miss 2 pounds, the fight is on. If you miss 4 pounds, the fight is canceled. Policies on, because in some states, they've already started to implement that you can't put on more than 15% body weight from what you weighed in at. I believe it's California, and I believe it's 15%. Like if you weigh in at 200 pounds, it's just a round number, right? If you weigh in at 200 pounds, you cannot weigh more than 230 on fight day. If you do, California cancels your fight. So like it's they don't regulate, that is the problem. And if they do, it will begin to undo some of the legislative things that make it a sport. So you would need all of the commissions to get on board.
So what do you think about like drug testing? What if they did weight testing?
Yeah, so like there's all types of systems. So I've personally said that I think that there should be scales. Like if you're telling me that USADA can show up to make these people piss in a cup and draw blood. And I know it's DFS, Drug Free Sports International, DFSI now. I know it's them. And that program I actually believe will be better for fighting. Anyways, if they can show up with all that, they should be able to show up with a scale too. And fighters, there should be a limit as to what your typical walking weight is. And people are like, oh, they'll cheat. You can't do it. Listen, bro, you could put in the major gyms even, and then you could have a guy that travels around and goes to major gyms and then just hits small gyms with scales, and you get randoms. And if you're a 135 fighter, and let's just say they're I'm just going to make it up, 20%, right, is their rule. So you've got what, 27 pounds, so you would be able to weigh 162. Did I do that right? Yeah, I think 162.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So if they walk in and you're over that, you now fight at 145. Like I've
No,
said
do,
that
do you
for
not think though
years.
that everyone's fighting the weight class below what they should be fighting?
Yeah, I truly, and I don't, that's the one thing that I truly hate the most about the sport. And I feel like if you can drug test people, you can easily weigh people. You could set up a program. You could have 3 people that make 60 grand a year and get a bunch of plane tickets, and you fly them around to random gyms and they just fucking weigh fighters. And like it wouldn't be a costly thing if fighters knew it was coming. Like, damn, bro, I could walk in tomorrow and be overweight and I'm fucked. Like, I feel like that would have more effect than up the fine, because up the fine it'll cancel the fights, in my opinion. I don't.
Yeah, but the fine doesn't do anything, is it? I mean, I think the two options are you either weigh as you walk into the cage, but then what would happen would you get the fighters walking in drained and fighting at a
Well,
certain
morning
weight,
of. So, like in
dehydrated.
boxing, until Jake
Yeah.
Paul got involved, and I know Floyd Mayweather had some weird stipulations about before you walk out weights, but for the most part, it's usually the morning of. I got no problem with that. When you wake up on fight day, bro, you can't be more than 20% over the weight.
But
There's
if
nothing
if
wrong
you
with
look
it.
at some of the UFC fighters, I mean the weight that they fight at compared to the weight that they're weighing, and I feel like we're seeing obviously you get more knockouts because people are more drained. But
Did you see Johnny Walker weigh 142 on a scale on video, or 242 on a scale on video on a Monday morning?
Yeah, it's I mean, even you look at like Paul Craig making middleweight. I'm a massive Paul Craig fan, but there is fucking no way on earth that he should be fighting at
I'm
middleweight.
not bringing up Alex Pereira and Tom Aspinall at all again. Alex is another one, bro. Look at that guy. You're cutting to 185. I'm 5'6.5" or some shit. I weigh like 170 fucking pounds, bro. How are
Yo,
you cutting to 185?
Yeah, it's
can,
really. I
can
just feel like people should be fighting more at the natural weights. I feel like we get better fights if people are actually fighting at their natural weight.
can I jump in with I think something that probably won't be done, but it's see we keep trying to find a solution, but we shouldn't go forward with this problem. We got to look back at the history and see where it started. We can come up with like 10 different ways to like, oh, how much hydration percentage, but the reality is, if we look back at time, this all started because boxing back in, I believe it's 1984, decided to move the weighing of yourself from fight day to the day prior, which this now what was part of the wrestling culture immediately shifted into prize fighting and thus carried on into our game. Like this this uh this really should be reviewed back to just weigh what you weigh that day of. Like, then it's not a problem. You can't over dehydrate yourself, or what's going to happen? You're going to get knocked out. Everybody knows that. So make the weight. That's what the contracted weight should be. I'm for, like, I get what Connor I think was saying about like the quality of fights. Like, I'm for that. I'm so much for that if you don't make weight, if you're past the 1 pound that's legally there, and you guys can't come up with a contract for catch weight, screw it. I don't want to see this because this is not real. And also, you know what? I'll just take that sentence back. I don't want catch weights. So I'll take that sentence right out. If you can't make the contracted weight for a real weight class, and if it's not a championship situation, you get the 1 pound grace. If you can't make that, I'm sorry. I don't want to see the fight. Come back another day when you can be professionals, because there's way too many guys that have made it for way too long, who are way too good at it, who've made it under crazy circumstances. Professionals make it. That's all I got to say.
Rob, 100% agree. And the thing is, it becomes a competition of who can cut the weight the best, not who's the best fighter. It's who can cut the weight.
Huge part. I want to let James get the. We left, I think, Iron on hold forever, and I'm going to try not to do that again. James, go ahead, bro. James, with your hand up. It says James, right, guys? I ain't got my glasses.
I'm here. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the stuff there but the guy in the UK is saying, what the guy in the UK is saying, like 30% of your purse. It's not enough because guys are coming in. We say a bantamweight. Guys are kind of coming in at 139, just not putting in the effort, willing to lose willing to lose the 30% of their fucking wages when they know they're going in against another depleted fighter, and they have the advantage of that, and they get the win bonus. You know, it's like he said, it's not missing weight, it's failing to make weight, it's not putting in the effort, it's making the decision to not cut the fucking weight properly.
I disagree, because there is no real science on how to cut weight all the time. You're guessing, even if you've done it 5 times. You don't know how your body's going to react this time. I know a little bit about muscle fibers, and as you get older, the fibers get stronger. You're not going to deteriorate them by dehydrating them. You're going
So
to have
then
a harder time. Like,
so then you go up the
I get
featherweight.
what you're saying, but they shouldn't be putting themselves in that position, is my point.
Can I back up Joe, but from a different point of view? It's not that they can't or whatever. It's not incompetency. It's choice. If you're
It's
on the lower
choice.
end of the listen, hear me out. If you're on the lower end of the pay scale, making 12 and 12s or 30s and 30s, you think I'm gonna give up 30% of my purse to have a 6-7 pound advantage, not be dehydrated, and get that dub and move my happy ass up the pay scale? You betcha. And there's lots of fighters doing it. This is a choice. It's a tactical choice to take a pay cut for a physical advantage. This is not a mistake. Just saying.
Yeah, so for
That's for
me,
the lower
Evan,
grade fighters.
this is a little bit of my deep, like, like they call it deep whatever when whatever. These are some of my deep MMA root beliefs. I'm a guy who really, really believes that we should have weight classes that include 1, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 205.
I agree.
And actually, I think the 205 class could maybe be moved to 210 for heavyweight. And I'm very strong on that. And a lot of people are. It's already been put through command, which is the people who legislate all that. The rules have already been passed, sanctioned, and all that. But the UFC will not adapt, so the whole industry won't adapt because fighters won't train for that. If I have a point here, if fighters were forced to fight at their natural weight, Rob, I love what you said, bro. Just make them weigh in the morning of, because you're not going to go out there fighting the way you look on the scales right now. Nobody's going to let you. The way these dudes look when they're on the scales right now, nobody's letting you fight like that. That's not real. So,
and that's the thing is like, and if they do switch to that, which I fucking love that idea, the one thing they got to do is they got to hold them accountable. So it's like, okay, you miss weight once, you're going to get fined, and that's a pass, right? You do it again, either you're getting cut or you're moving up divisions, because we're
so
not going to keep
you
doing
guys
this
do
shit.
know that some states have started to put rules where, like, if you miss by more than 2.5 pounds, you have to go up the weight class to fight in that state again, right?
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah,
thing, though. That's the shitty thing with our rules is every state gets to make up their own goddamn shit.
Yeah,
but
I
if
hate that it's
also,
not all
but
even.
also,
The NBA
yeah,
is
but also,
fucking
like, if you're in the
unified.
UFC, when are you gonna fight in Memphis again? Who gives a shit? Like, no disrespect, just saying. But no, back to the previous point. Oh, damn it!
No,
Damn
wait,
it! I
hold
just
on.
lost.
I'm
But then
saying.
Denver has taken on the rules of one championship now, where
So,
there's like fucking where they one championship have rehydration clauses,
no,
like you were saying,
no.
that
Yeah, but that's all complicated. You're going up the
exactly,
complication scale. Once again, in
exactly.
1984, a bunch of people who didn't understand cerebral cortex fluid, because the science wasn't fucking public yet or understood, made
Yeah,
a bad
one
choice.
fighters have went
In
public about how easy it is to beat it. One
yeah,
fighters have talked about,
and
oh,
so
you just
yeah,
do
the
this and then do this and you beat it every time.
the most honest way is you weigh in the day of, and if you drain yourself too far and you get your ass kicked, you did it wrong. Like, it's more honest. It takes all the guessing,
So
less flaws, less bullshit.
I
Like,
agree. So
just
what I was saying, Rob, listen,
Fight.
because listen, I want to run with this one for a second. Listen, if we had a system, day of weigh-ins would be the easiest one, where people are forced to.
How
Um,
can how can I pass off those to you?
oh shit, that was. I think. Did I mute somebody? I don't know what I did there. I think I muted. Did James talk? I don't know what happened. Anyway, um,
Joe,
fuck.
Yeah, I'm back again, buddy.
how,
Anyways, if you
Joe,
make
stop
guys
talking. Can you hear Trace?
no.
Trace,
how
I can
can
hear you.
how can I pass off host to him?
Yep. I can hear him.
Okay. He wants to know how he can pass the host to you. I don't know if you can.
No, we're
You
just gonna
can.
have to close it up. So I'll say this, and then I'll be done. I think if there was a better way to hold them to their real weight, you could fill all those weight classes easily, because you would open up the smaller division. You would fill all the weight classes easily. Trace, if you're passing out, we've been rambling. You ain't even been on the mic, brother. We can cut it.
I gotta we'll pick it back up. I gotta get out.
Yeah, that's it. It ain't no big deal.
All right, well, good night, boys. Good night. That's great to talk.
good
Peace
night,
Later,
out,
my
brothers.
everybody.
boys.
Peace out, brothers.